Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Lightning Speed Racing's Le Mans Ultimate Series. We are here today for the 2.4 hours of Le Mans, and it's going to be a fantastic race today. This time, I have a co-commentator with me, my analyst friend Philip. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic. So, Philip here will be going ahead and taking over for the political discussions that we may be having during the stream. And he'll be with us for the entirety of the 2.4-hour race. Sebring, is that correct?
I'm gonna be joining Sebring as well, so it's gonna be a very fun race. Sebring is very difficult track to master with a lot of bumps. Like crashes are gonna be in the common area, so it's gonna be fun.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, Sebring's out of these tracks. Sebring is the closest thing I have to my home track in my sunshine state of Florida. So obviously, it's a good track. That's one I'm looking forward to. A lot of bumps. Used as part of an old Air Force base. So very tricky and very rough, but can't wait to see it. But for the time being, we are here to see the start. Can you go ahead and tell us some information about this track, Philip?
Well, it's a very well-known track around the world, especially in the VEC area. It is known mostly for 24-hour events. It is in France, and we are joining only with hypercars today. Unfortunately, because most of the time it's multi-class racing on Le Mans, and it's a very long track. So, like half a second in qualifying doesn't matter too much because it's such a long track, and every single mistake here can cost you so much time. So it's gonna be very interesting on the qualifying.
Indeed, yeah. Qualifying, I mean, it's not going to be as big of a part as it may be, but qualifying is going to be important, especially because the first chicane can cause a little bit of chaos on lap one. So, I mean, the further you are ahead, the less likely you are to kind of get caught up in that scuffle there towards the beginning. I'm sure we're going to still see contact. It's a 2.4-hour race, and we actually had about 8 DNFs last time out in Spa. So it's gonna be fun one to watch.
Yeah, like it's such a big track. Like little mistakes can be a lot of time here, and people need to be like extremely precise, and of course watching out for their tires, oversteer, and probably the most problematic here is the chicanes where your traction just goes off rails and your car just wants to dance all the time. So it's going to be very difficult for the drivers later on in the stints when the tires are not on optimum temperatures, and also tire wear. We will see today how it will go.
Yeah, indeed. Although I do see a comment in chat saying that we should do a 24-hour race, which could be very interesting if we can get people to commit to 24 hours. I know some drivers in here recently did I know Nico Perez did a Daytona 500, but I think some drivers a bit earlier than that did 24 hours of Daytona races on various other games. So that's pretty interesting. Daytona's a fun track too. Hopefully we'll see it in WEC at some point, but right now we are currently qualifying down to about the last 10 minutes, and this is the longest track in the WEC, as Philip was saying. Super long track, about 7 miles around that ballpark. And yeah, so I mean, right now the quickest lap time is Rovin Machete, I probably mispronounced that. But yeah, he's actually a BMW. The last time we saw this driver was in Bahrain, and he took victory in Ferrari, and now he is racing for the German car. So that'll be very interesting to see the performance. We know BMW has been wicked strong in the season so far. I mean, the win in the prologue and a very dominant win in Spa. So how do you foresee strategy coming into effect here and maybe switching up this order a bit?
Well, we know that the BMW is a very fast race pace car, as we saw from our championship leader in the BMW, Mikhail Furkov. It's just a fantastic car to drive, very much balanced. And here for the strategy, I would say probably undercutting because as I heard from people, the tires are very cold for like very long time here on this track. Depends also on the track condition. So I'm thinking undercutting will be a better option for the drivers today.
Yeah, in general, even in Le Mans Ultimate, the game itself, we have seen that tires do take quite a second to get up to the optimal temperature with the mediums and hard. I know typically the medium has been the tire choice for a lot of these drivers just because they can heat them up faster, get that grip, able to get the corners. I mean, we thought even in the prologue that quite a few drivers were struggling with the Arctic tires that they were given.
There's also option to go hards, which is much slower tire, but for sure it will make the whole 2.4 hours of the race.
Indeed, yeah, because if you're new here, first off, welcome. Make sure you go ahead and drop a like and subscribe with notifications so you don't miss the races that we do. We used to do races for F1. We have 3 separate groups there, so if you like Formula 1, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. And we also do Le Mans Ultimate every Saturday around the same time, about 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. But back to the tire discussion, for those of you who may be new and may not understand the tire differences. So the medium tires are, those are the tires we have. They are the quicker tire, but they're quicker, they heat up quicker, but they also kind of burn out quicker. So they lose their grip quicker than the hard tire, which is kind of the opposite. The hard tire is more of that tire. Doesn't have as much grip. When it's actually grip is more than makes up for in tire life. So, like Philip said, we could probably go the entire distance.
Well, I mean, the drivers are now gonna decide. Hopefully, they practiced and maybe you looked out for their tire wears on practice sessions. And here, if it's a 2.4 hour race, you need to at least practice 1 hour just to see how much the mediums can be stressed out during that 1 hour period.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, practice makes perfect. I mean, I know it's a saying as old as time, but it's true. And especially like what you were saying there, Philip, with the fact that you got to find out like what you can and can't do with these specific tires, so you can kind of manage that tire life to perfection and ultimately perfect your strategy, especially if you do kind of figure in the undercut like you were talking about earlier.
Yep.
So tire life and strategy are going to be the main factors of today's race, without a doubt.
For sure. I'm just curious to see what the drivers have today on their mind with the tires. Personally, I am a bit of a slower driver, so I would go probably on hards, try to win over strategy and my consistency, but we'll see today what our top 3 guys in the championship, of course, they're gonna push hard because the leaders of the championships are like pushing very hard for this win, and this is a lot of points today.
Yeah, double points here today, and points all the way to P12 if they finish.
Yeah.
But we have a ton of drivers here. Last race we had 18 drivers, and the race before that we had 20. Well, we have 19 currently. Earlier in the practice session, we had about 30 drivers, but we're still going to have a pretty healthy field here today.
Yep, indeed we do. One more thing. I want to see how the drivers will do the sector 3, which is starting from the Porsche curve, which is gonna be very, very high speed, and that usually kills the fronts. So we might see some crashes in sector 3 because the walls are very close. In this game, you're gonna get punished with a little bit of tire wear and some vibrations from the locking up also. So it's going to be very, very difficult for the drivers later in the stint, so we might see some crashes here.
Yeah, indeed, especially if you just misjudge your braking point by even 5 meters, it can be over for you just like that. Yeah, like you said, Sector 3 is a very, very tricky part of the track. So it's interesting. And yeah, this is the longest race we have on the calendar, with the remaining races being a 90 or 60-minute race. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's gonna be very interesting to see. So, Philip, do you have a request for a driver that we do an onboard lap with as we come down to the final lap or so of quali?
Let's go to Mr. Santos.
right.
If he's on track.
Yep, he is on track at the moment.
There we go. The first straight towards the first chicane. Of course, a good exit out of the Tre Rouge. And let's go into the first chicane. Very hard break. It's a very difficult corner to get out of. And we will see how Mr. Santos does this now. Oh, I think he's not on a push lap. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, possibly. It is saying
he
blue
is
in
not
his
on a
cockpit.
push lap. Yeah. He might be on a out lap right now. So yeah.
We'll actually go.
Well, basically, these chicanes are very, very dangerous in some parts. Like the second chicane, it gets very, very narrow on the second part when you do a right turn. So it will push you off, or it will spin you. So it has two effects, and we'll see how Mr. Santos does it. Oh, you see, exactly, exactly. As this can happen because he pushed too much of the brake, just pushed too much speed, and he spun the car.
I wish I could say that was the first time where I was riding on board with Mark Santos for an onboard lap and he spun. It happened in Portimao. He was in the lead, and I went on board to do just like kind of like what we do is like the silent onboard where we kind of just go ahead and lock it and just let the pure sound of the car reverberate. And then like 5 seconds later he spins it. So
yeah.
That's
as I told
the commentator's curse for sure.
No, I just know it's a difficult track. I drove this so much times. It's like the chicanes, the sector 3, like everything here is especially dangerous. And as I said, the tire wear is very important here, and mostly people who watch out for the tires are gonna gain a huge advantage in the later parts of their stints.
Indeed, yeah. It looks like we have a little bit of
right?
slipstream, but maybe impeding from between Daniel Krebs and that Peugeot and then Bradley Kennedy in that Proton Porsche. So it's interesting. We'll see what the stewards have to say about that. We'll just have to see.
We
how
are
it
in
goes.
the final minutes. Let's see. Now the track is in a better. Oh.
That's a big spin from the Peugeot there. That's a big spin there. Ooh. And that's his qualifying done and dusted.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see who's on the lap at the moment.
Basically, what he did is he pushed the corner too much for the car to handle, and Peugeot is usually struggling with these types of corners, so he just probably pushed it way too much.
Yeah, I mean, that's very possible. And I mean, he seemed kind of frustrated. He was trying to get out of the way of Bradley Kennedy in the Proton Porsche. Switch to that Proton Porsche. As we come down to the last 30 seconds of qualifying, do you think anyone is going to top that number 15 BMW's time? I think that Rovin is pretty much good for pole.
Well, for me, I think personally that Toyota is the fastest qualifying car in this game. So the two Toyotas can challenge, but I think the BMW driver just did an absolutely amazing lap, which we unfortunately didn't see.
Okay, we saw that.
Yeah.
So, Antoine...
Anyways, yeah, as I was saying, the Toyotas can challenge. Let's see. Now this is a push lap. Can we go on board on this one?
Yep, we can go back on board with the number 7 Toyota, the 2024 spec. And so his team, or the other number 7 Toyota, the 2023 spec, or what we have affectionately nicknamed the Haas Toyota of Antoine, has went ahead and boxed. He's in the pits. So he's not going to be improving. So I think the last driver who could make an impact on qualifying here is going to be Mark Santos. He is in Sector 3 now, that really tricky technical section that Philip was talking about earlier. He is going to be currently our last hope when it comes to getting a top driver or a improvement on pole position at the moment.
Yeah, let's see how Mr. Mark Santos now goes into this chicane. The worst one out of the whole track is this chicane right here. A little bit sliding on oversteer. Good exit. He's pushing very, very much. You can see all on his tires and his rear end slipping.
Yeah, he did not improve in Sector 1, so no improvement for him there. We'll see in Sector 2 if he's going to make an improvement. We'll see if that comes up. Oh, it is. It is an improvement on his time personally, but not an improvement on Rovin's, as you can see there.
Yeah, he just had a little bit of a slip on braking. That's down to probably the pressure he put in on the brakes. Let's see how he does this next, the start of the Porsche curve. Or, sorry, Indianapolis.
Yeah, we'll just have to go and see. It's a pretty tricky set of corners here. I mean, he's in a good spot. He's about a tenth. He's about 2/10 off, roughly, compared to Rovin's time. He's gonna have to make it up here in this third sector. He did improve his first sector. He was still behind, but not as far behind in Sector 1 as he is in Sector 2. Just under half a tenth off there in Sector 1. Sector 2 is just under 2/10 there, so he's really got to push hard.
Yeah,
he's really
especially
got to
this
make
third
this happen.
sector. He needs to completely trust the car in this part. The tires are overheating. He needs to push every single corner right now to get this pole position.
You can hear those tires just screeching on the edge of grip. He's handling it very well. No track limits for him, which would be very unfortunate at this stage, as he is possibly the last car that could take the fight to Rovin there. He's got only one more chicane to navigate. Oh, I think he went a bit wide there on the exit. We'll see where he goes. Oh, it's
second fastest.
It's just not quite enough to get it.
The slow chicane got him, the first slow chicane here at the end of the lap. Just his car just jumped over, bottoming out, went too wide. Probably lost like 1 or 2 tenths there.
Yeah, indeed. So that is qualifying wrapped up. I don't think we have any other cars on track. No, I think that's it for quali.
Yep, nice quali.
Yep, that was a very fun and very fast qualifying session. We're going to go ahead and just switch back to our tower. So yeah, so going ahead and reading off the qualifying positions, we have Rovin Machete, Mark Santos, Antoine Poncet, Nathan Perron, Daniel Krebs, Craig Starkey, Mikhail Frokov, Bradley Kennedy, Jack Perry, Dan Wilson, Johnny Luna, Javi Mora, Brandon Dills, Nico Perez, Saman Saeed, Formula Jonah, Andre Ferreira, Adrian Pubella, and then Joseph German. And that is the end of qualifying.
Well, I am surprised that the BMW is in the lead. Usually Toyota is the strongest qualifying car, but Mercedes did just an absolutely amazing job on that BMW.
Yeah, we've seen so far, I could be wrong, but I think we've seen so far at least two BMW pole positions. I believe Mikkel had pole position in Spa in the BMW, which he pretty much just took that straight to victory. But I mean, the Peugeot has been also a pretty solid qualifier with Daniel Krebs. He got P2 in qualifying last time out. So far this season, the Toyotas have semi-struggled in qualifying, but they've definitely made it up in race pace. So we'll see if that's the same case here as we go on to the longest race of the calendar. Are you ready, Philip?
Exactly, I'm so ready for this one.
All right, so they're going to come around the bend here, and then it's going to be lights out, and away we go. And actually, look at that time. They're so close to each other. It's going to have to be an excellent launch there from from Rovin, from BMW, to go ahead and lead us to green. It's going to be a really, really tricky turn 1, lap 1. So we'll see if there's any carnage. Are you predicting turn 1 chaos here?
I mean, what we saw from this championship, people are actually very, very passive on the race starts. Rarely ever somebody dive bombs, because we know in this game the tires are very, very cold. So I wouldn't suggest doing a turn 1 move. The plan should be for the Toyotas to just wait for the first straight before the first chicane, and then try to slipstream the BMW and get into the lead.
Indeed, that does seem like a very good strategy for the Toyotas right behind it, but we'll see how it's going to go. They're just navigating the chicane before the start-finish straight, and then soon we will have the start of the 2.4 hours of Le Mans. The green flag is there. It's ready to go. Rovin will lead us to the field, and it's lights out, and away we go. And it's a good start there from the BMW. We'll see how Turon fares on Nathan Perron. I think he's actually trying to gain the position here. Let's just see how it goes. Cars going through all 19 competitors here. 2.5 but it's good defense there from Rovin Machete. Oh, but up the inside goes Mark Santos. He's not even going to wait for a straight, but I mean, right now, Rovin is just not going to give that up in a fight. But Nathan Perron is looking for a potential charge. Mikhail Frokov gets ahead. The 2023 number 7 Toyota of Antoine dropping 2 places at the start there.
Yeah, what an amazing start from Mikhail Frokov in the BMW, already fighting for P3. The BMW seem to be very, very fast and straight now, and they might defend this. Want to stay 2 and 3, but the Toyota got the move done, very good grip. Also, the Cadillac has amazing grip on the opening lap.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it was a pretty good start there from Nathan Perron, but so far it's just been an even better start for Mikhail. Mikhail, I mean, we know he's a strong challenger in this series. He's up in the P3 now, so it's a BMW 2-3 at the moment. So, I mean, there's 3 BMWs right now in our top 9 so far. Points go down to P12 for this race in particular. And it's double points, so every point is really going to matter. This race could shake up the championship in its entirety as we continue on. So, what lap are you expecting some pit stops to start happening?
Well, depends. Like, usually it's like around 8 to 9 laps, if I'm not mistaken. Usually on this track we don't do many laps. It's all lockup.
A bit of a brake lockup there for Mark Santos, and Rovin reclaims the lead of this race. He might be under attack there from Nathan in that Cadillac. We'll see if he can get a move done. He's going to try to shake for a move. He's going to get it done, possibly. They're going side by side. Yeah, so that's Nathan Perron.
Yeah, amazing.
Up in the P2. Excellent stuff
amazing.
there from the Cadillac.
Speed on the start of the race, amazing. Oh,
woo, that's a dive there from Mikhail.
Nice move also, very clean. Very clean. Now we have BMWs. They might go 1-2 here if Mikhail can get closer to the Cadillac, but I think the Cadillac has the most speed out of this lap 1.
Yeah, Nathan Perron is having a very excellent lap as we go on board with the Cadillac now as he chases down Rovin there through Sector 3 of this track. And we're about to have our first lap complete so far. So it's going to be a very, very interesting race here today. I mean, there's already so much action happening here. And it's only lap 1. Which is pretty crazy to think about. I'm
curious about the Toyotas here, like P4 and P6. Like, it's just maybe the tires that just need more time or just unfocused on the start, maybe from a lot of distractions in the rear view mirrors.
Yeah, possibly. I know Santos didn't really do himself any favors with that massive backup Rovin to kind of retake the lead of this race. But yeah, I mean, it's right now it's like a pretty smart start here. We're actually going to go back through the pack a little bit. We're going to check on this battle between, for P10, between Craig, Starkey, and Johnny Luna. Actually, we're going to hold off on that a little bit because it looks like a very spicy battle here between Mark Santos and Mikhail Frokov. And it looks like that they're got put there on the corner. Mikhail playing excellent defense there in that BMW. We're gonna go on to the wing cam a bit. We'll actually switch it up some, see if we can get a better camera. Okay,
yeah,
nope.
I think Mikhail is losing a lot of time fighting with Santos, so I think the best option should be now to let him go and follow him, because the Toyotas are now warming up and they might fight now for the podium.
Yeah, very true. I mean, he's losing time to Perron, like you said. And Perron and Machete are definitely leading this race right now, but maybe a move into chicane, possibly. If we see Daniel Krebs going a bit wide there on the exit of that chicane. And now we have the slipstream chain. Looks like the Toyotas are both going to make moves onto their respective opponents. I want to see if that's going to be the case.
He will try down the outside here.
Yeah, it's going to be very risky here. Could it be done? Not quite. Oh, a little bit of bumping there between Santos and Procom there. And I don't think there was contact there between the Peugeot and the other Toyota, but I think Swan is going to go ahead and make the move up into P5 on track at the moment, just behind his teammate in the 2024 TTR Toyota.
Oh, he's very close now. It seems the Toyota has so much more pace than the BMW.
That is possible. Actually, we're going to go ahead and change up a bit of data that we're seeing here. We're going to go ahead and show what tires the top 9 are on. Yep, they're currently all on the medium. So they're all going to try to go for that more aggressive strategy, possibly. But yeah.
I mean, as they should. Here, I think they might do just one tire change in the middle time of the race, like around an hour or so. They will just do one tire change.
Possibly, yeah. We also do have fuel to consider. Machete has burned hardly any fuel compared to any of the cars behind him. That is excellent fuel management there from the number 15 BMW.
Yeah, there might be a strategy from him just because he's so rapid today. He might even lift and coast already to save some fuel to overcut everyone.
Looks like he had a little bit of a smooch against the wall there. Luckily didn't cause too much damage. We've seen damage take out quite a few drivers before, and I don't think that is the case for the driver currently on your screen at the moment. We're actually going to see if we can find some. We're actually going to switch to a battle for P9. That could be possibly
a yellow flag somewhere, sector 2 or sector 3.
Possibly, yeah.
A short
actually,
yellow flag, yeah, probably a spin.
Very possible. Didn't see anything on the table, but yeah, maybe some cards went off to the ground. Very easy to do on this track, especially if you're trying to make a move and they just kind of shut the door on you, like one of those annoying auto insurance salesmen. But yeah, we'll go ahead and see what happens.
For now, the pack is really close to each other, which is nice for racing. It's a long race, so this is good.
We're going to go ahead and do something we've kind of affectionately nicknamed the boutique manufacturer check. We're going to go on board with Formula Jonah, actually, who is battling one of the Glickenhaus machines for P13, getting closer and closer to the points. Although Nico Perez is about just under 5 seconds off of Dan Wilson up ahead in the BMW, who's currently sitting in the last points paying position. We'll actually go on board now with the number 6 Proton Porsche of Formula Jonah. So, and then I see a question in chat about how many drivers. We have 19 drivers currently on track here today.
19, yeah. Which is a good number. Like 19 is almost everyone. But it's a good number for a 2.4 hour race. You'll see a lot of action. That's the whole point of this event. So the viewers can enjoy the whole 2.4 hours of this racing. And I think now that somehow the Glickenhaus is still good, doing good on the straights. He's not like losing down to the Toyota and the Porsche, but he's doing a really good job in the Glickenhaus.
Yeah, we've actually seen some really good drives from this Glickenhaus squad. It was a double top 10 finish for the Glickenhaus last time out in Spa with Lucas Nielsen and Nico Perez, the driver currently on your screen, who managed to get a P4, I believe, in a Daytona 500 running recently, and he was about the 10th or so off of P3, so almost got a podium in Daytona.
Yeah, he is a very experienced and fast driver, as his teammate, who is unfortunately not racing. He said, man, I wish I could have raced this time. Yeah, shout out to Lucas Nielsen. I race with him a lot, and he is a rapid driver. He surprised me when he tested the game for the first time. So the Glickenhaus is in amazing hands of very talented drivers, and for them P10 is a win, so every point for them is a win.
Yeah, Lucas got, I believe, P7 in the Glickenhaus, with Nico Perez getting a P10 or P9 position. I think it was P9. I'll go back and look at the standings real quick. I do believe. Okay, so Lucas was P7 and Nico was P9. So yeah, I was right.
Yeah, that's a good finish in Spa, which is for the Glickenhaus a bit of a difficult track, but this one is the most difficult for the Glickenhaus because the Glickenhaus cannot reach some top speeds, which a lot of cars can.
Yeah, it is. It's only rear-wheel drive. It doesn't have a hybrid system, but it would be better because Joseph German is trying to force an entry. He's got the inside. It's going to be laid on the brakes for the Toyota, and he
very good move. Very good.
13.
A very good move. Clean on the brakes, easy, and now he's just gonna vanish from this Glickenhaus. And you will see the difference on the straight. For the new viewers, the Glickenhaus is the light blue car behind him. So yeah, that's the car that's usually struggling the most in this hypercars performance.
Yeah, I know the Van Wall is another car that can struggle on the straights because it only has 6 gears compared to everybody else having 7. So I think, honestly, that would be the car that would probably struggle the most on this track in particular. But, I mean, we've seen some really good drives from these boutique manufacturers. I mean, just go back to Bahrain, and we saw some excellent defense from Christian Tenerelio at Golden Van Wall. And he was putting on some really good defense against what you mentioned as faster cars, like the Porsche. He took on a Porsche, he took on a BMW, and I think even a Toyota at one point, just keeping them behind and making sure those elbows are very, very wide.
Yeah, usually their problem is just the top speed. Everything else should be fine. They are very agile. And yeah, just the top speed. But since this is Le Mans, there is at least like 5 straights and 2 very long ones. So they're gonna lose probably 2 seconds per lap just by their car alone being underperforming.
Yeah, indeed. Right now, we actually have one of the boutique manufacturers is Sota Fraschini. Points paying position right now. So typically, for those of you who may be new, first off, welcome once again. So the points playing position for a 60-minute race, top 10. We use the F1 scoring method, or just like their points paying positions, minus the addition of the fastest lap points. So you get 25 for first place, 18 for second, 15 for third, and then it just goes down from there all the way to the top 10, receiving 1 point for the 90-minute races. So like what we had at Spa, and then what we'll have later on in the season at Monza, I believe. It's going to be 1.5 times points, or near 1.5 times. And also points down to P11 for this race, the biggest points payout of the season. Double points and points down for the top 12 as long as they finish. They have to finish. That is the big criteria. So if you get P11 or P12 and you don't finish the race, that is no point for that driver. So you got to finish, even if you're like way off the field by your P12. Go ahead and finish the race and you'll get yourself the point.
Yep, and especially in this game you need to watch out for your NRG system, which is basically your stint timer, and it does happen a lot of the times that drivers just do not focus on their batteries and motor maps, and there is the hypercars in this game are so complicated. So since this is a track with longer straights, it's gonna be their time to look at their tire wear, their fuel, their stints. And seeing Mechede P1 with 71% energy, which means that he has 10% more than average number. Also, that means either he's very heavily lifting hosting and probably going for an overcut over everybody. But we will see later on in the first pit stops how much Mechede can get the gap towards the driver in behind.
Yeah, because right now he is sitting at a 3.5 second gap to Nathan Perron, who is under attack from Mark Santos here. So it's Cadillac v Toyota.
We have a DNF.
On. Oh, we do have.
I think I saw a DNF, yeah. We just need to check who it is.
That actually might be a pit stop because I'm not seeing a
pit stop.
DNF. Oh, yep, you're right. It's Daniel
Yep.
Krebs. Another
There's
DNF.
Unlucky.
Another DNF
Unlucky.
for Daniel Krebs. He has not had the greatest of starts. He had a P2 qualifying position there into Spa, which is a really good position. And he was even leading the race for quite a bit, but unfortunately just had to DNF after some contact with the BMW of, I believe it was Mikhail Frokov. Yeah, that's up. Unfortunately, it's another DNF for the Peugeot here at Le Mans.
Yeah, I'm also very much surprised with the Porsches. They seem to have the pace and they're keeping up with Toyotas somehow, and they are like from P5 to P9 all Porsches. So they're doing a very good job.
Yeah, I mean, typically score the Porsches based on like what team they're representing, because otherwise, Porsche would probably get the most points by default. Because Porsche is really the first one to kind of popularize using customer teams in this current regulation cycle for the hypercars. So we typically have things split between the Penske's and the Toyotas, and the Protons, but still, the Porsche is having some really good pace here today.
Yeah, it seems like they're just a bit late to the party, but they are still keeping up a good gap. It is a very, very balanced car, and the strongest point of this car, which I noticed, is the sector 3 times. They are very rapid, very consistent cars, and we'll see if the BMW of Mika Fuka will actually struggle a bit later on in the sector 3 session. Or part of the track, sorry.
Indeed, yeah. Actually, would you like to go on board with one of the Porsches?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Alright, let's go on board with, actually, this is a battle here between,
let's go.
Johnny
Two
Luna.
of my friends racing, let's see.
There we go.
It's
now we
Jack
got a better
Perry
game.
versus Mikhail Frukov. Unfortunately, Mr. Frukov is very ill, but he still managed to join the session, and glad to see him on track. He's our championship leader. Jack Perry, who had a bit of problems with the setup, seems to be getting the groove of the setup and seems to be faster than Mr. Mikhail in the BMW.
Indeed, right now we're currently watching the battle between Johnny Luna and Craig Starkey for P8 at the moment. And these two Porsches are pretty close to each other. They're two different Porsches from different teams. We're currently on board with the number 12 Hertz Toyota Porsche. And then just in front of him is Craig Starkey in the Proton competition Porsche. So just an example of kind of what we were talking about earlier with the two of the different teams driving Porsches here. And I will let you take it away for the rest of this lap.
Yeah, it seems like the Porsche has much more speed carried in the low speed, and now we will see what Jack Perry can do against Mikhail on this straight. He needs to get closer if he wants to get the move done. And let's see what Jack can do if he can get any closer to this BMW. Seems like Mikhail is very much struggling on the tires in sector 3, as I saw the Porsche getting so much closer, but seems like Mikhail is faster than Jack in sector 1. We go into the first chicane, a little bit of a lockup from Jack. He's also struggling a bit on tires now, as we are around half an hour into the race. The tires will now say hello, we are here, and we are getting off slowly.
Yeah, slowly but surely he is clawing that distance up to that BMW, but we know Frokov, I mean, he's championship leader for a reason. He won in the prologue and he won at Spa. So right now, he is in a really, really good spot. I believe he's been kind of poking at Bahrain, the only race so far where he hasn't won yet. And I know the prologue doesn't give out points because it's a preseason race, but still, it just kind of it's a testament to how quick Frokov can be, even when he's struggling, and also when he is sick. Which we do wish him well. We hope he recovers soon, hopefully in time for the next race.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. He probably had a late notice. As he said, the last race he won't join, and now he actually joined on a late call, so I think he just jumped in with no practice, and in P6 that's very impressive.
Yeah, P6 is really impressive in general, especially with how fast this field is. But especially when you're under the weather like he is, then that is extraordinary stuff.
Yeah, I'm very happy with this amount of delta time between drivers. They're still very close, and yeah, this looks very, very interesting in terms of strategy. We should be seeing the first pit stops very soon.
Indeed, yeah. We'll try to go on board and see if we find any pit stops that may happen. But so far, it's only one DNF as of right now. So we are down to 18 drivers. Daniel Krebs in the 94 Peugeot, unfortunately retired from the session. So we are down to 18. We're currently going on between an Alpine and an Asota. That should be a really fun one to watch. We'll switch on board that in a minute. We're still going to keep an eye on this battle between Nathan Perron and Mark Santos for P2 currently on track. Still got quite the gap to Rovin Machete in front and the number 15 BMW. So what do you think are the strengths and weaknesses comparing this Toyota to this Cadillac here, Philip?
Well, I think from the experience I did driving the Cadillac, it's a very pointy car, which can be very much oversteer in the later part of the stints. So I'm guessing that the Cadillac is now struggling with exit speed, which is now gonna cost him right here. As you see, slipstream and better exit from Toyota. The Cadillac is a very pointy car, which is gonna be amazing in Sector 3, but I think the Toyota is just an overall better car now.
Indeed, and we're seeing the overtake being done going into the next chicane. Bumping cars going on there between Nathan and Mark.
Acceptable.
Yeah, we've seen worse contact here. So, I mean, overall, especially with
this is gonna be aggressive but acceptable racing. Let's see if the Cadillac has a better exit now.
It looks like he's gonna try to send it up the inside. We'll go ahead and see if it's gonna happen. Oh, but possibly no,
good,
not quite.
Clean racing.
Very good racing there between Mark Santos and Nathan Perron. I mean, this is a really good battle. Are we seeing another move possibly for the Cadillac? Possibly.
Oh yeah, it's very close.
He's got that straight line speed, and he's got the move done. Nathan Perron back into P2, but he's only locked on the brakes and had a little bit of a slip there. That's going to be gold for Nathan Perron.
What an interesting race for these two guys. Oh my god. Oh,
very,
we have a
very
Porsche
good.
Also in the back going straight into the gravel. But let's see what the Cadillac can do now. This is the part of the track where the Cadillac is much better.
Yep. Oh, he's got the inside line too, so that's really going to help his case now. He's got the move, and he got it done.
Yeah, exactly. Now
Toyota.
he needs to push.
Oh, and he does push it. He's closed that gap right on him. We'll
the Cadillac should be faster, much better here on the exits.
Yeah, indeed. Well, if they're not careful, the other number 7 Toyota, Antoine Ponset, might actually go ahead and be opportunistic and try to capitalize. We do have a yellow flag somewhere on track.
It was a short one.
Very short indeed. So far, we are in the season and we have not had a safety car needed to come out. So that's very good. Or even a full course yellow. We've only had those little minor yellows that go for a few seconds and then kind of disappear. Some very good testament to how clean these drivers are on this track.
You might see a dive bomb here.
Nope. He's not against it.
As I'm seeing that Toyota is actually very much good in Sector 3.
Yep, and he's got the move done back onto Nathan Perron, and this battle is the century going on here.
Yeah, amazing battle from these two guys. Oh, both of them are very aggressive, very good in their knowledge of their cars, their strengths. But now I think that Toyota should gap this Cadillac.
We'll see if this Toyota can send Nathan to Gapplebee's here momentarily. We are down to 2 hours remaining on this race. 30 minutes have already passed. Yeah.
Yeah, for now, very good racing, very interesting racing. These two guys now might work together, or 3 of them actually. They might work together. I think they should, because Santos is running away a bit now. It seems like also like the leader got 2 seconds out of these guys, the Cadillac and the Toyota fighting, so that's good for Mercedes in P1, and that means he can even more lift and coast and probably get 1 more lap of fuel. So he's open to any strategy.
Yeah, we'll actually go ahead and pull up the energy remaining. We'll see. Ooh, that's very good there from Machete. So yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, it's a stretch, but might even be able to get an extra 2 laps out of that. But the question then becomes, just because you can, doesn't mean that you should. That's the question on hand here.
So here's the logic. Every single driver out of P1 has almost the same amount of energy, which is the stint timer. And so that, to me, indicates that everyone went full energy, 100% for the first stint, which means that Mercedes should or probably is lift and coasting.
I mean, he's got the gap to do it, so I mean, makes sense. He has that gap. He's got a 5-second, actually now a 6-second gap to Mark Santos behind. So I mean, yeah, I mean, especially because of the squabbling between Nathan Perron and Mark Santos in the back there, I think Machete's got a really good chance of just putting that BMW in a really good spot. He could probably get at least 1 extra lap out of it, but he might even still and then just go full send with the second.
Yeah, exactly. I think he has at least 2 more laps at most, which is very, very good. And if he has good tires and a clean off traffic, it's gonna be very amazing for him on the second stint for him. But now we have the Glickenhaus trying to make a move.
Yeah, it's right now we're on board with Nico Perez in the Glickenhaus. It's another boutique manufacturer battle. We've seen quite a few of those throughout the season. Brandon Dills in Minnesota has a Glickenhaus pretty much right on his tail. And now we're seeing that in a literal sense. He did lock up his brakes there earlier, which allowed Nico to kind of get a little closer, but just not quite enough to go ahead and make the pass stick. So a very, very entertaining battle we have going on here between Sota Fraschini and Glickenhaus here.
Yeah, I think we should see around the first pit stop around the 1:40s. Whereas the window should be 1:30, 1:40, and Mercedes I think it should be a 2-lap overcut over everyone. So better tires on the later part of the second stint.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, he's in a really good spot throughout this race. We're going to go ahead and actually... So far, doing my check, it is still a singular DNF from the field. Still the 94 Peugeot Daniel Krebs. He is the only driver so far who is out of this race at this stage. We may see more, we may see less. Hopefully that will be the retirement. Ideally, no retirements would be perfect, but thing happens. But yeah, but actually, if these two aren't careful, we might see this Alpine just slightly behind him. Andre Ferreira might even make a move into Alpine if these two have a massive squabble.
Yeah, for now, this is a very, very clean racing for now. And I'm also looking at the deltas from the Porsches. They seem to be, it looks like working together, Kennedy and Perry for this P6 position, probably trying to catch up with Frukov. And the teams, they don't need to work together, but since this is Le Mans and Slipstream is very overpowered, if Jack is faster, then Kennedy needs to understand to let Jack through so he can catch Frukov, and then possibly Kennedy can be with them if something happens.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, especially with the Mulsanne straight being so favorable for slipstream on this track. I mean, it's pretty much best or top speed that we're going to have here. But so, while we're talking about the Mulsanne straight, did you see that with the next update coming out in about 3 days' time, they're actually adding the variant without chains on the Mulsanne straight, as well as a bunch of other track layout variations.
Yeah, I'm a very much a big fan of this game, and they are, for me, it looks like the most community-listened game. They listen to every single driver, every single player, so that's very good. And I started this game when it was very early on, when it was basically almost unplayable. And they are doing everything for now, for almost everything perfect. And these now track layouts will give some more fun to the open lobbies, and also the GT3s are amazing. I heard from people being much more accurate than any other sim, so this game is doing a very good job for 1 year of since it was made.
Yeah, they're also actually giving the Mustang GT3 as a free DLC to every player, so that's obviously going to be a lot of fun. Another American car on the grid, and I mean, obviously the Mustang just recently got a class podium or even a class win at Daytona this year, so that Mustang is already making waves in the endurance racing community.
Yeah, they just only postponed the Qatar circuit, which is the last circuit we are missing from this game, and it's an amazing, amazing circuit. Unfortunately, if I understood the game developers, they said like they're gonna do other stuff, like laser scanning other tracks to make them even better. So I think that's a better option for now. We don't need to rush the Qatar. We got now 3 new cars. And also, other day, like I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, the Valkyrie from Aston Martin Hypercar is also on testing.
Yeah, I did see a few snippets of it on social media of it going through Qatar, and yeah, the Lucille circuit's actually really interesting. I gave it the nickname the Coral because it kind of looks like a, when you look at like any cartoon that has like corals underwater, it kind of looks like that specific circuit. But yeah, I mean, obviously we do appreciate the quantity, but obviously quality over quantity. It's kind of a few tracks that are actually really pleasant to race on versus having like, you know, 200 plus tracks that are insufferable to drive on. So we do appreciate that the effort that the developers are putting into it.
Also, it's gonna be a very difficult track to make. It has a lot of bumps. It has big curves. It is also, they need to probably test it more than they think, because also it's very high on the tire percentage of wear, because it's dusty and it's high-speed corners. So very happy to test it when it comes out, so we can see how much fun can it be on the hypercars, because I know in F1 it's very fun with medium to high-speed corners.
Fun track. I enjoy it. Just kind of thinking about like F1 tracks coming to endurance. It's kind of a running joke that I've mentioned to a few friends of mine, but just the possibility of having a 24 hours on Monaco and have it basically just be like Atlanta traffic in the middle of the day.
Yep, let's go back to the battle. This one, it seems like Fukov is probably struggling now. He lost a lot of time. Jack also lost it on the second chicane a bit, so he's far off now. He was very closer to Kennedy on the first straight. Now he lost in the chicane, so I think they can get this BMW. It seems like Fukov is in problems with the medium tires.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we've even seen Machete kind of lose a little bit of time there to Mark Santos in the Toyota. So I think we're now starting to reach that kind of crossover threshold of where the tires are starting to kind of lose their grip, and then also the drivers are probably running pretty low on fuel. We'll actually go ahead and check that, how much energy is remaining on these cars. And yeah, I mean, still, Machete still has a lot compared to everybody else. He has 10% more than the next person with the most, and that is Antoine Poncet in the 2023 number 7 Toyota. So yeah, it's been very good here for Robin, but he is losing time to the car behind.
Yeah, he has so much better options than any other driver now in P1. So we'll see what he will do, but I think whatever he does, it's not a mistake. And I personally would go for the overcut because you're also leading, and 2 laps is a lot on tire wear, so he might go for the overcut here.
Yeah, and especially because, I mean, lap times on Le Mans are typically around the 3-minute range. Probably even around 3.5 minutes realistically, so we saw the qualifying, the fastest time was like a 3:27 around that ballpark. But yeah, still very.
Yeah.
Lap times do take quite a bit here, so getting even one extra lap on these tires compared to everybody else is going to be a massive boost.
Yeah, it's such a long track, so 1 lap of tire life is very, very good advantage. And I think maybe Mercedes is now trying to do 3 laps more than anyone else because his gap seems to be even lower now. Oh, mistake.
Yeah, a little mistake there from Bradley Kennedy. He got a little bit on the grass. He goes wide there, going into the full-stop straight. So that's going to be very good for Jack Perry behind him in the number 75 Porsche to see if he can go ahead and make the move onto Bradley Kennedy here.
Some extreme weaving here for the slipstream. But that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea because they're going to lose to Mikel here.
Yeah, I think that is going to just relieve pressure off of Mikel there, but I mean, it even increased the pressure on himself. Bradley Kennedy lost a good amount of speed on that straight. He's doing it again. I think also tires as well.
Yeah, also weaving doesn't help that much in this game because it only works in F1. Here it does help, but as you can see, it doesn't help that much.
Yeah, it seems to be more of a deterrent versus an actual benefit. And oh, there it is. The move made a little bit of contact there between the two
Jack
forces.
needs that move.
But Jack gets the move done.
There we go. Jack needed this move because it looks like Kennedy's struggling a lot now, and as every driver should, it's the end of the stint here, so we will see how many times they will change the tires. And also, in terms of the weaving, they are much heavier cars than F1, and they're carrying less aerodynamics, so the weaving just doesn't help. And on this track, from experience, I think it's better to let the car go behind you than you follow him and then try to work together, because now Mikel has 1.7 seconds in front of them.
Indeed, and actually just looking on my timing table, Formula Jonah in P17, now P18, just did a pit stop, so he might be the first driver we've seen doing a pit stop so far. We'll probably see more to come here in the very near future, but I believe the Porsche of Formula Jonah is the first driver we've seen pit so far.
Yeah, as they should, they should do it. The pit stops right now. It seems like it's either this lap or the next lap. We'll see. But yet again, looking at the gaps, they remain the same. Santos gained half a second on Mercedes. So there is a chance that Mercedes is going for that 3-lap lift and coast, which in this game, for you who don't play it, you have a system that tells you with the lights how much you need to lift and coast to save the amount of laps you want.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a question of, you know, like we talked about earlier, I mean, you gotta find a happy medium, because he might even lose too much time doing those 3 laps compared to the car behind him, because I mean, you're gonna lose at least a few extra seconds with getting extra fuel. So I mean, we'll see if that pays off for this leader BMW.
It looks like a lot of people are pitting now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's only the top 3 not pitting, so I'm guessing the Toyotas have 1 more lap and Mercedes either 2 or 3 laps. And we will see what will happen in this next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, so right now,
tough call.
P4 all the way to P12 has went ahead and made a pit stop. We're going to go ahead and look at the energy remaining until these guys go and do a pit stop. And wow, that's a deficit if I've ever seen one.
Yep. It looks like 2 laps for Mercedes extra. I don't think he can do a 3. So actually 1 more car is also Sahid in the Porsche. He seems to also be good on to finish this lap as well. We just need to wait what will happen on when Mercedes pits. If he can continue. If he will continue, I think he will. Because you don't lift and coast for no reason, so we'll see what happens in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much going to be make or break for a lot of these drivers here and these pit stops in these next 10 minutes, like you were saying. So it'll be very interesting to see if Machete might even only do one extra lap, so he just doesn't spend as much time in the pits fueling up. But once again, we'll just have to see how everything plays out. But so, do you think? I know you were talking about the undercut strategy really working out, but do you see anyone else from Robin attempting an overcut, either distant or even if we have to go to where we need 3 stints here today?
Yeah. Usually the undercut is much more time because you need to fuel more of the energy system. In terms of the undercut, it is the only positive thing about the undercut here is the tire warmers, so the tire warming period. And here it looks like the Toyotas were struggling on their tires in lap 1, and probably for now them to pit before Mercedes might even help a bit.
Yeah, indeed. Like you said, the undercut is super strong on this track, so yeah, I think this race is probably one of the most interesting pit stop strategies out of any races that we do throughout the season. Because typically, from what we've seen in Bahrain, and actually even in Portugal a bit too, so from Bahrain, Portugal, and Spa, these races typically get a one stop. They stop one time, and then that's basically all she wrote. But
That's
this
right.
race, 2 pit stops, maybe even 3, depending on how aggressive these drivers are, might be in effect.
Yeah, let's see what happens. They are pitting right now. They need a good pit stop and they need an extremely fast outlap. The problem is with the undercut, it is more time in the pits, but the thing is that as soon as they leave the pits, there is a long straight, which doesn't help the warm-up tires. So if they push really hard, they might gain that time back and have much more warmer tires than the guy who pitted. But it looks like also the leader pitted.
Yeah, so he's gonna make the pit stop early too. So the top 3 going to call in their pit stops. But right now, the only driver who is still yet to pit is this driver right here, Samin Saeed. Is the only driver. He's got 4% left. Can he make it?
No. He will pit right now.
Yeah.
He should pit right now.
If he doesn't,
but it's good for him that he overcutted by 1 or 2 laps the other rest of the field, so it might help him gain position or 2 if he gets a good pit entry here.
Yep, that's definitely going to be the deciding factor.
Yeah, he's taking it very cautiously.
Yeah, and also Ferrari also pretty good on last, but he's also going to go to make his pit stop now. So these are the last 2 drivers who have yet to pit, and everybody else has pitted on this track.
Yeah, now we need to watch the gaps from Machete and top 3 to see who gained where in the pits. Because in this game you need to be very careful because the penalties are so harsh. Usually drive to stop and goes and other harsh penalties in this game. So
yeah, we'll definitely have to see how these gaps gonna form. Yeah, Machete is 7 seconds ahead of Ponset.
Yep.
Ponset.
Well, it can also mean that Machete didn't do a full fuel, like full energy, which is also possible. But we will see later on when he does the second pit stop. Did he underfueled? Is also a good idea sometimes to underfuel the second stint, because then you are faster with lower amounts of fuel. And he seemed to be on pace with the 2 Toyotas, so we will see how it goes now into the second stint.
Yeah, and it looks like we might even see the same thing from the Toyotas that we saw earlier, so that P2 and P3 are just going to be battling so aggressively that Rovin can just kind of go saunder off into the distance. So we'll see if that's going to happen again as these 2 cars are really close to each other. But then again, there's not much of a performance difference between the 2023 and 2024 Toyota, so it's not a massive advantage for one or the other. But Antoine goes ahead and keeps P2 at the moment, but for how long is the real question.
Yeah, I'm just curious if they will realize that they need to work together here, because slipstream effect with having it 5 long straights is gonna help them a lot to catch the leader. But if they fight and if Machete gets a long gap, oh, another mistake.
Yeah.
Lockup just pushed too hard, and now they switched positions, which I think it's better for Santos. Santos seems to be on the pace with Machete today.
Yeah, I mean, these two Toyotas are very, very close. So far, we've seen overall more results from the Haas Toyotas compared to the regular Toyotas. So 2023 versus 2024. I think they're higher in the team standings. But yeah, it's very interesting to see that these two Toyotas are so close to each other despite being different model years. The 2023 versus 2024. So it does show that despite being about a year apart in terms of what car model is used, the performance difference isn't that strong in favor of one or the other.
No, they're very, very close to each other because Toyota was happy with their 23 car. It just was a slight evolution in the second Toyota, so they should be the same now. The thing is that Santos needs to push this very hard, try to get away from Ponsant if they're not working together, and try to push for the P1, which is around now 8.6 seconds.
Yeah, so I mean that's it's a very good gap that Roven is forming to these two. And I mean, yeah, I mean like you said, these two are just kind of fighting, so it's not really conducive for them to continue this battling. Oh, as we see from the view, Antoine gets a bit into the gravel, so he's going to lose a little bit of time to Mark Santos up ahead, which is very, very unfortunate there for the 2023 Toyota.
Yeah, but it happens. It looks like the Toyotas are still struggling with the tire temperatures. If we are looking at the gaps, they didn't do mistakes. They just swapped positions, but the gap is getting more on the favor of Machete, which probably the BMW has better tire warm timers.
I guess, but speaking of gaps, Nathan Perron and Bradley Kennedy are really fighting it out here. They got so close. A little bit of a lockup there. Did kind of keep Bradley Kennedy in the
verge
fight.
of aggressive, but very fair from the Cadillac.
Very fair, very aggressive. These two cars are just ripping it right now. They are fighting tooth and nail. Fighting like their life depends on this P5 position. I mean, it's double points. You might as well go all out and try to get as many points as you can for the Drivers' Championship and also the Team Championship. And this is getting very, very dicey here. But right now, Bradley does go ahead and take that position off of the Cadillac. But I think Nathan Perron is just going to be better on the straights here.
It seems like it. It seems like it. The Cadillac now needs to decide where to make this move. It seems both of the drivers are very clean, very close and aggressive. Let's see.
Oh, he's going to have to maybe send it. Oh, yep, there it is. He sent it. It looks like Bradley Kennedy. He just go a bit wide
seems
there.
like the Cadillac has more carrying out the speed out of the chicane, and now we will see the Porsche if he can have a good third sector to keep with the Cadillac, who is now in the P5 position.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll definitely have to go ahead and just see how everything is gonna play out for the rest of this race. Because right now, I mean, Bradley Kennedy is losing a good amount of time to that Cadillac. So I think right now that Cadillac just has such a strong pace advantage. But soon he might be coming under attack from a fellow Porsche, Johnny Luna.
Yeah, there is also a kind of a fight between Perry and Luna with 1 second gap. They seem to be following each other. The gap seems to be the same, which, as I said before, that the main strategy of basically the same cars should be to follow each other and to let the faster driver be in front. So if, let's say, Jack is now following Luna and Luna is faster than Kennedy, then they can together get to Kennedy and then again later on move forwards because they have so much slipstream and the Porsches are very nice balance cars. And so basically depends on Kennedy's pace because he's now the leading Porsche.
Indeed. Yeah, Bradley ran out in the Podium Porsche he's the not the Porsche leaderboard. But I mean, all it takes is just one mistake to kind of ruin your race.
Such a long track, so yep. Seems to be short, so probably another spin or something.
We're gonna go on board with another battle involving some German machinery as we see Simmons. He went super wide there. That's Dan Wilson in the number 20 BMW. He saved it, but
very good. Yeah, very good save. Yeah, indeed, good skill to save it. He released the throttle, just counter steered and rolled it back to the track. So
we're having a lot of traction problems at the moment on those medium tires. Now we're gonna go back to another boutique battle. We've seen these two battle quite a bit between Nico Perez and Brandon Gills, currently fighting really well. And the boutiques here, which is really fun to watch.
Yeah, it seems to be that Nico is doing a very good job in the Glickenhaus. He didn't seem to be far off the pace, like regarding this car 2 seconds, and it's already been an hour, so he lost so much time just because of the car, but he's doing an amazing job.
Yeah, I mean, we know Nico Perez. I mean, he's had some really good performances throughout the season. He got points last time out in Spa on a track that you mentioned earlier. Is not super great for the Glickenhaus or any of these other boutique manufacturers, but I mean, so far it's been pretty good for Nico Perez. And it looks like he went a little bit deep into the first chicane, which allows for a little bit of bumper cars between Brandon Dills and Nico Perez. But can Nico Perez keep him behind, or do you think that Brandon is going to go ahead and make a move when we get to the Mulsanne Straight?
Yeah, I think Nico can be very happy with this performance, since this is the worst out of the worst tracks for the Glickenhaus, missing that top speed. And let's see what happens now.
The move being made for Brandon Dills. This is for P15 on track. He's got the move done. He does have that better top speed. And we'll just have to see. Oh, yep, he's going to try to slip to. Nico Perez might be trying to make a retake for that position. He may try to retake for P15, but not quite. He just does not have the top end for that.
Yep, as I said, the Glickenhaus is very fast in the corners, but top speed, he just cannot do anything here. He just can only follow this car. Maybe try to make a move, but I don't think it's smart to fight with this. He's gonna lose even more time, so...
Yeah, possibly, but he might still try to make a step around the outside. Nope, not quite. He decides better of it.
Yep, much better exit.
Nico Perez.
Yep, much better for the Glickenhaus here. But I think still, even if with a better exit, he won't have the top speed to catch this guy.
Indeed, and also we just got a hello from Erickson. Hello, mate. Thank you for joining the stream. Hope you're enjoying the on-track action, because Philip and I certainly are.
Exactly, the whole hour has been amazing to watch. This is very clean, and especially clean. I'm very surprised that everybody's aggressively clean, which is a rare sight in sim racing. So,
indeed.
Let's see what now can Nico do here. As I said, it's just better for him to follow this car and try to stay on pace. That's the only thing he can do in the Glickenhaus. No point of fighting, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, especially because we have about an hour and a half left. We're just about to approach the official 1 hour mark. Past, and there's 2.5 hours of Le Mans. Very solid stuff from these drivers. Yeah, very clean. And this is a testament to the type of drivers we have attracted to lightning speed racing for Le Mans Ultimate. Very solid stuff indeed from all these drivers.
Yep, they need to just carry out the league in a positive way and also the game in a positive way. I haven't seen anyone with very bad comments about the game. Nobody in the chat was rooting against the game, and probably only the haters who probably biased towards iRacing and ACC and other games. But I would strongly recommend whoever likes VEC or endurance racing to play this game.
Actually, I did see one comment in the chat saying that they heavily regretted not having this game.
Yep.
Oh, we talked about it earlier on. We know this game had a pretty rough launch compared to others, but they've done so much to improve the game over the 1 year it's been out, and it's, don't worry, I have not really heard many bad things about the game in recent times.
Yeah, I only heard bad about some people from iRacing. I don't know if they're a bit mad because this game is improving so much rapidly and has a good, positive community. I don't see a lot of like dirty races when I'm in open lobbies, even with silver ratings, which is like mid-tier safety rating. There is no unpolite chats. There is no just destroying other cars, like in, let's say, Gran Turismo, where people get mad and they just completely destroy a race. So this community is very positive, and I like that the developers are listening to every single thing, and they are doing an amazing job with this game.
100%. So,
Oof, right?
The game is actually a bit cheaper than like most other sim racers out there. So I think it's like 40 USD roughly. Not bad.
Yep.
I mean, not a subscription like iRacing is. So I mean, if you want to, like Philip said here, if you want to go ahead and check out the Ultimate, then I highly recommend it.
Listen, I would recommend to this game to people who like endurance racing and hypercars, which we have them in iRacing and everywhere, but people who who are major streamers of this like sim racing community, they said that LMU has the best hypercars, and I can agree because I did drive iRacing, ACC, F1, every single possible simulator game. Whoever likes the hypercars, especially the system, here you need to change the motor maps, brake bias, anti-roll bar. You need to watch out for damage, for tires. Like, this is like such a complicated machinery, and it's so immersive, and that's the biggest positive of this game. It's that you are immersed of every single lap you do, and that's why this game would be perfect in, let's say, in a year for driver swaps, potentially when they do them in May.
Yeah, that's gonna be really fun to get into. And also, if you are someone like someone who is thinking about the game, but like, I only have a controller, I don't have a sim wheel. Well, I'm in that same boat. I can play this game on a controller, and I still have a lot of fun with it. Some other sim racing games out there are just impossible to play on a controller, but this one has been pretty fun. So even if you are only on a controller, I do heavily recommend you checking out this game. I also recommend, if you like the action you're seeing on screen here, go ahead and be sure to drop a like and subscribe. We're doing this every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you get to see more.
Yeah, for now in CET, now in CET in Europe is 7:30 p.m. So guys, if you have any questions, just leave in the chat, and I will make sure to read them. And let's continue this fight for P2. It looks like it's not a fight, it looks more of a just Bonset following Santos here.
Yeah, I mean, right now, they gotta close that gap up. I mean, it's a 10-second gap. Machete in front. Oh, we have a few DNFs actually. A few additional DNFs. Jack Perry and Formula Jonah, two of the Porsches, are out of this race. I wonder what happened there.
We need to see later on, maybe in the chat, will somebody say what happened.
Possibly. Here's a car we haven't actually seen a lot of. We are currently on board with the number 50 Ferrari of Adrian Pubella. This is a Ferrari machine that won in Bahrain, but currently in P16 at the moment not having the greatest of races here today for the number 50 Ferrari, but it's interesting to see because we know the Ferrari can be very strong at this track. So maybe some turn one calamity. It does look like there's a good amount of damage on the front of this Ferrari.
Yeah, it seems like it, but here, like, damage is very, very crucial, and it can penalize your whole car feel. And usually, when you skim a wall, like let's say lightly, you can feel it, probably some understeer. But if you crash heavily, like your whole wheel gets to one side or the other, the car is undrivable in this game, and pit stops are usually 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah, so interesting stuff here. So yeah, it just adds an extra level of realism to the game.
Yeah, the game is really, really realistic in terms of damage, and they said also they're gonna now improve the feel of the GT3 cars, which I like the most. I like the GT3 cars the most here. They feel realistic. That you can feel the weight distribution from the front to the rear. People are doing. I had a race with like 45 minutes on the Le Mans, and me and the one guy we were fighting for 40 minutes straight. Very close, door to door, very clean, very aggressive. So GT3 is for me personally much more enjoyable than hypercars, since hypercars require a lot of skill.
Indeed. So there's always a lot of stuff that you can have going for you. If you like LMP2s, if you prefer hypercars, if you prefer GT3s, this game has pretty much everything you can imagine. And we're considering the idea of expanding the series to include LMP2 and GT3 in the near future. But it's the first season of Le Mans Ultimate here at Lightning Speed Racing, so we're gonna have to go ahead and see to see if there's enough interest to have multi-class racing here.
Yeah, another yellow flag. That this one was a longer one, so it's difficult to spot where the yellow flag is since it's just a very big track. But usually on this track it spins. Usually because there is, I can say, at least 4 to 5 spots on this track where you can spin easily.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're just trying to play the catch-up game like we're seeing from Mark Santos and Antoine Posset, trying to get closer and closer to Rovin in front. But I think it's yeah, I mean, it's very easy to screw up on this track. It's deceptively hard because you may see like a massive race on straight and then just think like, this track isn't hard. Oh, you'd be super wrong about that. This track is very, very difficult at times. It's very easy to mess up because you're carrying so much speed into some of these corners.
Yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of very, very narrow corners. They look easy, but they are actually not. This one is the lock-up corner, famously known. In this game, everybody at least 2 to 3 times locked up in this corner.
Yeah, it's a pretty common occurrence here on this track. So far, we are still only at 3 DNFs. Jack Perry, Formula Jonah, and Daniel Krebs are only 3 retirements as of right now. Points down to the top 12. So Andre Ferreira in the Alpine is the last point scorer at the moment. But do you see any massive shakeups happening for this field, or do you think it's just going to be do you think it's just going to kind of remain like this for the rest of this race?
I think that Machete will still keep his P1. 10 seconds is a lot on Le Mans. Santos and Ponce are working together, and seems like Santos is just kept him for 3 seconds. I think it might be him like having the fastest pace right now. Seems like Machete is probably chilling a bit on the tires, maybe again trying to play the long game, having better tires later. And I don't know. Fukov is somehow here. He's our championship leader in P4 now. He is here with the other guys, but I think it will remain the same since the caps are like 3 seconds now.
Yeah, I think the main mode of operation for these drivers is just finishing the race and just trying to, you know, bring the car back in one piece. I think that's just kind of the mindset everybody is in at the moment. There's not really any, like, the closest fight for anybody might be between Brandon Dills and Dan Wilson, but even then, that's a 3-second gap, so that's not really much of a fight at all.
Yep, now probably the fatigue is also getting into the option, because when I did 24 hours of Indianapolis, on the third stint my eyes were watering. You started to probably shake a little bit since nobody's used to driving this long amount of times, and the only time they can relax is on the straights, and your eyes are working so much. So probably for some guys, probably most of the field, they're just chilling now and driving on like 90% of the pace, also probably looking for the tires, since they probably realized from the first stint that they need to do that.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's like you said, it's a super long race. The longest race, I did a 3-hour race one time on Project Cars, and I was on the struggle bus for starting, especially because
Yeah.
Project Cars 3 wasn't the most accessible when it came to its handling. The cars really like to give out, especially because I was driving the like one of the old Renault prototypes from back in like the 70s or 80s, so it was a very tricky car anyway. And we're on the Nordschleife on 24-hour layout, so yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah.
And it was just on the controller. I can't even imagine how tough it is on the wheel.
Yeah. Well, Ericsson has a question. Ericsson, he said, does the game have Valkyrie? Well, the Valkyrie just did a test a few days ago in real life. So they did. I save. Basically, they did their tests. They are happy with their Valkyrie. It has a V12 engine, and it does not have the battery system, which is, I think, a bit surprising for me. But since they have a F1 team. But the Valkyrie will come later probably, since they follow, they need to, because they have the license, I'm guessing they need to have every track and every car that enters VEC. So I'm thinking about probably later, like a year later, because they need to do the recordings and the tire models and everything for that car. So, and also the Mercedes also entered with their GT3, which is my favorite GT3 car. So I'm happy with that also.
Yeah, they're probably gonna have to do that with it's gonna take time. It's probably gonna be,
Yeah,
I would
scanning,
even say,
yeah.
yes. I mean, you got
A lot of
scanning.
scanning, yeah.
You gotta get the data from the teams, and also you just gotta. There's so much that
Yeah,
goes into creating
and
one
I
of
don't
these
think
cars.
the Aston will allow the tests immediately, because they need to do their own tests. And when they get with the familiar with the car, they can allow the video game developers to probably then test it later on. But for now, the cars we have, the tracks we have, this is just enough for the early access of this game.
Yeah, it has pretty much every car and every track from the 2024 season, with the exception of Qatar. But they're still actively working on Qatar at the moment. It should be coming out. I'd probably imagine that the Qatar circuit and the Aston Martin will probably come out right around the same time. I'm thinking sometime after this year's Le Mans. That is just a guess. I don't have any insider information, but just a guess.
Just a guess. Yeah, if you have any more questions, just feel free to ask. There's a lot of we have new viewers and people asking about the game. Should they buy it or not? I would recommend everyone who loves VEC, endurance racing, hypercars, GT3s to buy this game. It's not expensive, I think. You know, like, you just need to buy the game, and you have, let's say you don't have everything, but for the amount of price, it's a good price. It's a very good game. I started from the beginnings of this game, and they are listening to the community. The game is getting better every single month. So whoever is watching this, trying to see what the game is about, trust me, just buy the game. It's recommended.
Yeah, so you'll have everything for the 2023 season. It's just from 2024 you'll have to start picking up some DLCs. But even then, it gives you every car, every track from the 2023 season. So I think the only tracks you would miss out on, I think, are you're missing on Interlagos and
Yes.
Imola.
I think it's Interlagos, Imola, and Kota. Yeah, so
Three tracks from the get-go.
3 tracks, and you're missing out on a few GT3s and some hypercars.
Yeah, I think the main hypercars you'll be missing out on you'll be missing out on the Soto, the current 2024 gen for the Peugeot and the Alpines.
Yep. Yeah. Even when I drove the Peugeot without the wing, the old model, it's like it was so much difference when they got the rear wing on the next year. In this game, it was a noticeable difference, so they are very much paying attention to the game and developing it to the right way. And I'm also happy with the skill levels. It really takes a lot of skill to drive these hypercars.
I am seeing some pretty funny comment in the chat. No, we are not actually sponsored by Advanced Ultimate or the developers. We don't have
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be awesome if we were, but unfortunately, we're not at that level yet. It's only our bet, the third official race of the season for Levant Ultimate, so we're not at that.
Yeah, but listen, I'm telling this. Yeah, I'm telling this to the community, whoever is watching, to tell their friends. Trust me, if you watch VC, if you like VC endurance racing, and they will also include driver swaps in play. So very much recommended game. Trust me, I already have around 60 to 80 hours. So it is a very immersive and fun game, which has a lot of potential. I know it's maybe for some it's not like iRacing, you don't have every car, but in this, in terms of VEC, they will cover everything from VEC, and also VEC is getting much popular now, and everybody is like very much in positive ways for this upcoming 2025 season.
It also does help that there's so many manufacturers joining in. I mean, I know for this year we got Aston Martin coming in as a new manufacturer. We got Genesis the following year, and then the year after that we have Ford, which I'm actually personally really excited for Genesis.
Yeah.
Just because I'm really curious to see how they're gonna do. They're most notably known for WRC, for rally cars, and a little bit of touring car, but
somebody was off. The BMW was off the track.
Oh yeah. That's very unfortunate.
Who was that?
That was Dan Wilson, the number 20.
Dan Wilson, okay. Because we have P1 and P4 BMW, so I was thinking about them.
Yeah. The Asota. Oof. Brandon Dills gets a little wonky there. That's gonna be really
also one of the more difficult hypercars also.
Yeah, from some that this is even the most difficult hypercar to drive, even trickier than the Van Wall and the Glickenhaus.
Yep. I drove, I think, every single one, and it is a huge difference with every single hypercar. So I would suggest for new players to try every single one, and just to feel the difference. Try to feel the difference, and as I said, the game is amazing. It's going in a very good and positive way, and it has huge potential. And the most important is that the developers are listening to the players.
Indeed, and that's always really important because you don't always get that with racing games. I won't name any examples, but there are some racing games out there that haven't really done the best job of listening to their community, but this game is not one of them. This game, we were talking about it earlier on, but this game was borderline unplayable when it came out, but now it's in a really good spot. So yeah.
I didn't had any FPS problems since the GT3 update. I think that was the last huge update. So it has much better stable optimization now, and netcode is also very important in sim racing. And here the crashes are realistic, and everything they're doing it like in this state of the game for 1 year being in the making. It's a very, very recommended game.
Indeed. So, enough about us trying to sell the game as we are salesmen. So,
Yeah.
are there any drivers you want to go on board with at the moment?
Oof. At the moment, Perron in the Cadillac.
All right.
Let's see how the Cadillac is doing. Yep.
There we go.
Yep, let's see. As you can see, the hypercars have a lot of electronic lamps or LEDs. On the one on the wheel is your RPM. The red one is the traction. If you saw you have the two of them, not on the wheel but on the cockpit. You have the red lights flashing, which means he's losing traction. So beginners can, when they see the lights, they just need to let go of the gas a bit. So it does help. It also has a lift and coast system, which will be probably the purple lights, which will tell you when to remove your foot from the throttle. And it also has a lock-up lamps, so you have basically every possible assist on the hypercars.
Indeed, and also if you see like the little time on the about upper left of that steering wheel, the purple time where it says 3:28.603, that is the fastest lap for that Cadillac. So that is your current fastest lap around the circuit. Speaking of fastest laps, it's actually a really close battle for fastest lap overall. It is between the top two drivers there on your screen, and it's only 4 thousandths that separate both cars in terms of fastest lap. It's a 3:27.912 for Rovin Machete, and then Mark Santos has a 3:27.916, so about 4 tenths between them, or 4 thousandths between them.
Yeah, and that the gap between Santos and Machete, tells the race pace. It seems Machete just a tiny bit faster than him.
Yeah, that's seemingly the case here at the moment.
And also German in P9, the third Toyota, he was outside of top 10 for most of the race now. He's there, he's lurking behind the Porsches, but isn't gaining that much time. But glad to see him in top 10, he was starting behind. And the Porsches now with Jack Perry out, it's only 3 Porsches now. And they are remaining their positions. So now it's about the time about the second pit stop.
Indeed, and yeah, actually just looking back at the screenshot I took earlier of the qualifying session, so Joseph German actually started dead last in qualifying. A little bit of snap there from the aforementioned driver, but yeah, he started in P19. He is all the way up in P9 right now, so that's very good there for Joseph German.
Very good drive, yeah. Probably avoided some crashes at the start and gained probably 2 to 3 positions, and then just got one by one, and probably maybe even in the pits. You never know. But we are trying our best to follow the whole action, and of course it's a very big track. We cannot follow everything, so sorry for that.
But yeah, we're actually gonna go switch on board here too. What's looking likely to be one of the closer battles possibly between Craig Starkey and then Joseph Luna. About 3 seconds separates them both. But actually, oh, hang on, here's a even closer battle. Oh, never mind, it's in the pit. So, yep, the pit stops are happening.
Pit stop battle, let's see.
So, Rovin is in the pit. Or, no, sorry, that's Frokov into the pits. Montet's in the pits. And also, Perron is in the pits.
Let's see how the second pit stop shakes now the field, or maybe somebody gets a penalty. Everything can happen in pit stops. This is not easy like in F1. This is very, very difficult. You need to calculate good. You need to watch out for the pit limiter. Also the exit when the tires are cold. So there's so much to think about during pit stop. So it can shake the field up.
Indeed. So yeah, we got Nathan in the pits, Frokov in the pits, and Starkey in the pits. Pretty long stop here for Nathan. I think he's going fully up. Did he have a penalty maybe? I mean, he's been in the pits for quite a while. We've been on board with this.
Probably putting full fuel with the tires as well.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah, in this game also, if you don't know that, the people can crash in the pit lane.
Yeah, that's something that's absent in some of the racing games, like the Formula One racing game. It's absent, so you can't have contact in the pit lane.
Yep.
But this game you can, so you got to be really careful when you exit your pit box.
Yep, exactly. Now they have semi-cold tires, which is not that bad. But probably, I think the Cadillac probably changed the tires, which unfortunately we cannot see. But in the 25th of February, we will get an update for the tire wears and blankets also for the tires.
So here's an interesting thing. I don't know if it's I don't know if my thing is bugged. Let me try to turn it off and back on. Yeah, it looks like, oh, there it is. It finally updated. I was about to say, it looked like Ferran didn't even take any fuel, but it was just a bit of a delay with update. So that's more like it.
I'm curious if we can see the driver's sock. It's called a sock. You can see if you go on board on their steering wheel. I don't know if this game allows you to show this kind of information. But if we can go on board with Machete, just for the steering wheel on board. I'm just curious if this game, yeah, it's called SOC. Now if we can see, the game does not. The game has it hidden. As you can see, all the numbers are 0, so we cannot see the exact number of his energy levels. I mean, we can see on the HUD, but some games give some information on the steering wheel, so unfortunately we cannot see.
Yeah, at the moment it doesn't look like it. I think Machete's probably going to have one more lap to go around, and then he's probably going to call it into the pits too, but he's got a 10-second gap to Santos behind him, so it's going to be, I think as long as he keeps it clean for this final hour of the race, I think he's got it pretty much locked up.
Yeah, as it says, it's 22%, so I'm guessing he can do 2 or 3 more laps. That was a Glickenhaus going wide into turn 2. And yeah, we are seeing now different percentages in the energy systems.
Yeah, Bradley Kennedy is really kind of pushing it there in his Proton Porsche. He's only got about 4% left. He's surely going to pit it, and yep, he makes the pit stop. It would have been pretty silly otherwise, because he would have been possibly one of the first retirements in this entire series that happened due to a lack of fuel. We had something kind of similar to that in Bahrain, but it was Daniel Krebs having to make a second pit stop for fuel because he didn't get fuel on his first time out. But yeah, very interesting, guys. I think we have another DNF. Dan Wilson in the number 20 BMW is out of this race. Unfortunate. We are down to 15 cars left on track.
Yeah, unfortunately we didn't see what happened to some of the drivers who DNF'd. But as I said, it's a long track. We cannot follow every single thing here. And one more thing I didn't say. Some cars, they start on the energy system, which means if you don't have energy system when you box, you get a 120-second penalty, and your car cannot move, cannot start at all.
Which is devastating. You said it was 120 seconds?
120 seconds until your penalty, and they need to fuel up.
Yeah, so that's 2 minutes of just kind of sitting there and twiddling your thumbs, and then you can actually make your pit stop. Which, I mean, is devastating, because that's usually a lap or 2 most tracks.
Yeah. Well, the Glickenhaus, it doesn't have the battery system. It doesn't care that much about that. But we are seeing a lot of pit stops now. And I am interested what will happen to Frukov and Perron, since they boxed, it looks like 2 laps before Santos and Ponsent. And can they get some gaps in? Because that seems like an undercut from Frukov and Perron.
Yeah, they're probably going to try to claim some positions here up the order. But yeah, I think right now, just trying to maximize the results for that dark color BMW, Mikhail Frukov, and Nathan Perron trying to get a solid result there for Cadillac. Cadillac's had a very up and down season, at least for the get-go, but I think Nathan has done some very solid work there in that number 3 Cadillac.
Yep. Let's see when we can see probably in a lap or two the gaps between Fukov and Ponsent. I think it was around 10 seconds, if I'm not mistaken.
11 seconds.
Yeah. Now, yeah, yeah. I mean, Fukov, yeah, and Ponsent is 85 seconds right now.
Yeah, there's the
102
overall
to the
gaps to
leader.
leaders.
Yeah. We'll see after Ponsent and Santon's box. I think it was around 10 seconds or more. But now the BMW is pitting.
Yep.
He's around. What was the gap to P2?
It was about 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Okay, okay. They're also boxing behind him, so let's see. Let's see what will happen in the box. Maybe somebody underfuels. There is 1 hour remaining, so.
Yeah, and I think
Since it was, I think it was like 40 minutes is probably around the pit stops. So there might be 1 more pit stop for somebody if they underfuel and something.
yeah, that's very possible. But yeah, and it even looked like that Santos might have lost a bit of time in the pit stops because I think he overshot his pit box a little bit there coming into the pits.
A bit, yeah, everything matters. Everything matters in detail in pit lane. So as I said, you can shake up the field massively. You need to park the car exactly on the spot, and if you miss, they need to move you, which is around 5 seconds extra.
Yeah, so precision is everything. We're gonna actually switch on board to a battle for P8 on track at the moment. Looks like happening between the Isotta Fraschini of Javi Mora and Joseph German in the Toyota. So this is an interesting one.
Yep, and also as I said, the Fukov gap, P4 to P3. Let's see when the Toyotas exit out of the pits. It was 10 seconds. Let's see if Fukov can get to probably close to like 7 or 8 because of the undercut, as I said, the tire temperatures.
Yeah, possibly. We'll have to see if that happens. It looks like we might even get a possible battle between Santos and Antoine, maybe. I mean, there's about a second in between the two cars. But right now, this Isotta is getting really close to this white Toyota here as we go on board with the Isotta. And I mean, you could hear those tires just absolutely screeching away.
Yeah, that means they're on the limit of the grip. He's pushing crazy to catch this car in front.
Yeah, so we'll see if a move is going to be made here soon. And now we see Ferreira into the pits. He is currently the only Alpine in the track. He got points last time with a P10 finish in Spain. He was our last points finisher. Yep. And he had a really good race in the Alpine. Started pretty low down the grid, but just due to the amount of DNFs, he stayed out of the drama and got himself into a top 10 finish on the first time we've seen Alpine in the entirety of the series.
Yeah, of course, it's probably 5th to 6th best car in the game, so for them a top 6 is a win. They are struggling mostly on low speeds and braking zones, so every car has its downsides in this game, so Alpine should be, for me, I think like P6 in terms of the best car overall.
Yeah, that is true. So maybe, I mean, right now they're currently sitting at, because we're giving points to the top 12 drivers for this race. Still currently in the points, currently sitting in P10 at the moment. About 11 seconds behind Semyon Saeed, the last driver you can see on the UI head here, who is currently in P9, but he's actually, sorry, I was reading that wrong, but Mora is actually getting really close to this Toyota, which is pretty surprising considering the usual pace deficit between these two cars. Usually strongly favors the Toyota, but we've seen some very good surprises here from these boutique manufacturers here today, or even in the entirety of the series. Because also, we have Nico Perez, who's also in a points paying spot, and at this moment, it's actually double points for Isotta Fraschini.
Yeah, for them, that's P8 is a very good achievement, and it will be very much better to get this P7, especially to win against a Toyota. For me, it's a #1 car. So let's see what Mora can do. He's doing a very good job in that car. So I would say the third from the worst of cars. So doing an amazing job.
Indeed. So, I mean, he's getting close. I mean, it's a pretty good gap between these two cars, although granted, the Toyota is better on the straights, but a lot of credit to Javi Mora for actually staying within a respectable gap for that Isota. I mean, that's the Brazilian Isota, the one that they raced in Brazil.
Yep.
Which was, I believe, today their last WEC performance. Hopefully, we'll see them again in the future for 2026, possibly, if they can get another program going. But yeah, it's very good to see that Javier Moore is having a very good drive in Minnesota.
Yep, now he just needs to, I would say, it seems like they're on the same pace, so following him and getting the slipstream will actually help the Zora be a bit faster in the lap times. But also look at the gaps, like the gap to Kennedy in P6 is 28 seconds and Sahid is in P9 with 28 seconds, so I think that Mora can fight here. It doesn't, like, he won't regret fighting because he won't lose that much time.
Unfortunately, we missed it, but at one point, Ponset was like within a tenth of a second to Santos, and then really fell way behind.
Yeah, since it's a 5 second, I'm guessing either he went to the gravel or probably corner cut at the corner. So in this game, when you corner cut, the game will give you a warning to lift. So in lifting, you lose 2 to 3 seconds. So probably a small mistake from Ponset here, because now we're getting into the hour mark and the drivers are gonna get now, let's say, some watery eyes and some unfocus.
And I mean, depending on what their time zone is, it might even be in the early hours of the morning. So it could be like maybe 2 or 3 a.m. for some of these drivers. I don't know for certain, but
yeah,
if I was racing
we can see the flags. So usually, mostly here, yeah, you can see the flags in this game of the drivers. Basically, mostly are European drivers, so it's 8, 7, or 9 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, I've even been in some leagues where one of the drivers was racing at about 3 a.m. because he was from Japan. Yeah. So I mean, it's possible.
Cheers to him. Cheers to him.
A lot of credit, because I don't know if I'd be able to do that.
Credit, yeah. I did my latest stint around 11 p.m. and I was sleepy, and it was also a night race. Especially if this was a race in the night, it will be even more difficult because you need to squint your eyes to look at some corners and braking zones. And Frukov is actually now very close to P3.
Yeah,
there must be a problem with Ponset. There must be a problem with some kind.
Yeah, it looks
probably
like he had
to focus.
A nap.
Oh, inside,
contact.
Nice, aggressive, clean. It was a clean move.
Like a little bit of
maybe pushed, bumper cars a bit, but I think it was mostly Ponset moving into Frukov a bit.
Possibly. I mean, it looks like that Ponset just does not have the tire life that
or it's
Frukov
just
had.
not focused very much. It's, as I said, now it's a 1 hour point where drivers will now try to stay awake and focused for the remaining of the race. So he might be sleepy a bit, or like, I don't think the tires is the problem. He's not sliding much. It's just he made a mistake in the braking.
Indeed. So we'll just have to see if Ponset can kind of recover. It looked like a little bit of a brake lock up there for Frukov there, but he makes it stick. There's a yellow flag on track at the moment.
Yeah, at a longer one. This is good for Frukov. He's our championship leader. He's in P3. Also catching Santos, it was like 8.5 seconds, and the undercut helped him gain a few seconds. So now it's a battle in their head. So to stay focused, to stay on pace, and let's see what will happen in the next 50 minutes.
Yeah. So as I go ahead and did our typical check, we are now down to only 13 drivers remaining.
No! Oh,
the full spin there for the championship leader, and that's
no.
Oh, that's rough.
I can't blame him that much. There's a very big bump on the inside of that corner, and it doesn't matter which hypercar you're driving. I feel bad for him because I'm seeing the mistake again in the on the stream. Yeah, he did basically, I think, go over the bump, which is on the inside, which is very, very massive actually. So no hypercar can go full throttle there, and he probably tried to push because he was catching Santos, and now he's in P5 with probably some damage on the rear of his car.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate there for our championship leading. I mean, he was in a good spot, but just kind of fell off a bit there. But now we're even seeing a battle for possibly another podium spot between Nathan Perron and Antoine Poncet.
It might be also damage for Poncet because he's losing so much time, and now Perron is very close.
Yeah, battle of the Frenchmen here going on to the Mulsanne Straight. We'll see if Nathan can go ahead and make a move and get past the Toyota to secure a podium position here. It's going to be all to play for coming up in the next about 50 minutes or so of this race.
Yep, the Cadillac seems to be on pace today, and for him, P3 will make his day better because Cadillac is like a midfield team, like probably one of the most pointy cars in the game, so he should be now very close in Sector 3 to this Toyota.
Indeed, yeah, just taking a look at Nathan Perron here. Nathan Perron is currently P4 in the championship. He hasn't got a podium yet. He's been close, but not quite at a podium spot. His best finish is, I believe, a P4. I think is his best finish yet.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and check that. I'll go ahead and check that standings real quick and see if that is accurate.
Yeah, in terms of P1 and P2, which are very fast drivers, and Perron is an amazing driver as well. But he's in a Cadillac, and he should be having a very big smile for P3 even.
Yeah, so it would be his best finish of the season. It'd be the first podium for the Cadillac team. His best finish currently is a P4. He got that in Bahrain. Started in P6, all the way up to P4. So yeah, I mean, he's got pace. Last time in Belgium, he managed to secure a P5 finish. And he started in P5, yep. So pretty much finished where he started. Well, right now, he's got a chance for a podium. It would be the first podium for the Cadillac team.
Yeah, this is a very good position to be in. Seems like Poncet is holding on with this Toyota. As I'm thinking, he might have some damage towards the rear. He seems to be slipping a lot on the low-speed corners, and this turn right here is the one with the big bump. So drivers are going wider. So if you're asking why, if somebody's asking why, they are going to avoid the bump. For you who play the game, you know which bump I'm talking about. So he needs to just follow Poncet and try to probably shake him up mentally so he makes a mistake.
Yeah, especially because right now it seems like that Cadillac is just so much extra pace on the Mulsanne Straight compared to Toyota, but oh yeah, he lifted there just in time for the chicane. But I think right now the Cadillac's just getting better exits on that chicane.
Yep, much better, much better.
It's gonna be a fight.
Very, very close on top speed for both cars.
It's going to be a drag race down to the next corner at the end of the straight. And the Americans are known for drag racing. This drag race as well. He moves up into a podium position.
Amazing from Perron here. Very controlled, very calm. Now he just needs to, as fast as he can, gap this Toyota so he can, on piece, just try to stay on pace and hold on to this P3 position.
He needs to take him to the most famous American racing restaurant, aka Gapplebee's, and just try to start closing that gap to Santos. But Santos himself is quite a ways ahead. He is currently 11 seconds ahead of Nathan Perron, but he's really got to shake this Toyota.
Yeah, well, Poncet is not giving up. He's still behind. I don't know if he has damage. I'm suspecting he is. Well, if that's the case, for him, he just needs to stay close and try to minimize like the possessions lost because Fukov is right behind him and he catched around 1.5 seconds now.
Indeed. So, I mean, so actually taking a look at this, out of our top 9, Ponset has only done one singular stop so far. So it's a very good resource management there for the Toyota.
Yep.
Let's see what tire everybody's on at the moment. Oh,
well,
we have a soft tire.
runner. Yeah. Usually softs don't last much. Probably a shorter stint for Mora. So he will probably. I think he needs to pit right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Or I don't know about. Like, I know that soft is not the tire to be on. It's only for qualifying.
Yeah, the soft is usually a quality tire.
But it might help him a bit. It might help him a bit because he's in a slower car, and softs are very much grippy on the lower speed corners.
And we know the Isota, going into the gravel there. And we know the Isota is a very tricky car to drive. But I mean, still a P8 position right now for that Isota is actually really, really solid. And it is still double points for the Isota team. So they might actually be the highest scoring out of the boutique manufacturers at the moment.
Yep,
The only ones with points on the board is the double point score from Spa for Glickenhaus. Vanwall hasn't gotten any points yet, but Isota might go ahead and put themselves on the board for the first time all season.
Yep, amazing job from Mora today. Well, just need to find the question, why is he on softs? I'm just thinking about him doing a very short stint on the softs and then trying to pit around this time. Because there is a strategy going lower fuel and the fastest tires, so he's gonna have a shorter stint and try to push, but if he is pushing too much these softs, they cannot last long.
Yeah, so it's gonna be definite resource management here for the Isota Fraschini currently on your screen. So we'll just have to see if this Isota can go in and continue this good form that they have and just keep in that P8, because that'd be the second best finish out of any of the boutique manufacturers. The best one was Lucas getting a P8 last time out.
Yep. Solid race, yep.
So yeah, it'd be probably the second best finish for any of the boutique manufacturers currently.
Yep, and there also one more point of this game. When you lock up heavily, it does impact your tires into a state of flat spotting, so that can cause vibrations, and it is noticeable on a bit more expensive wheels.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, the soft tires. I mean, the thing about the soft tires, I know we kind of talked about the mediums being the more aggressive tire. The softs are even a step above that. So realistically, between the soft, medium, and hard tires, the mediums are the middle ground, but the softs are full aggression. And like Philip said earlier, it's definitely the quality tire of choice in every category, not just this game we're currently on today.
Depends also. Some people do qualifying on mediums. Since the soft on some tracks can die really fast, and it can question your choice sometimes. I usually qualify on mediums. They feel better for me. There is not much of a big difference. Depends on also the track, but I still prefer the mediums. And I don't see any driver on hards today.
Yeah, we haven't seen the hard tire.
Basically, every tire change is 3 seconds. So 12 seconds if you want to change the full car tires. So hards could also be an option because of that 12 seconds. But since it's a 2.4 hour race, the hards doesn't seem like a good option. Because the gaps towards the mediums and the hards, it's very big since the track is so long.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody's on mediums, probably, because it's the best tire in the game.
Yeah, I do actually want to point out, it's been on the screen for a minute, but I think it's quite a considerable amount of damage.
Yep.
His front is like crumpled like paper.
Yeah, if we can see now the gaps, we are getting close to the 40th minute of the race. Still on board with Perron, who is at P5.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate there for him. We're gonna go ahead and switch up the tower so we can see the gaps to everyone.
Yep. Well,
And
it seems like Mercedes got a 3-second gap to Santos.
oh!
Is
That's
no.
the Toyota going round and round.
That's the Toyota of German.
Joseph German. Oh man.
Ah, he was doing such a nice job today. Yeah, this mistake caused by the amount of oversteer and traction on the last corner, which is very, very deadly in the hypercars. And now, look, it's Mora in P7.
Yeah, Joseph German, so far, he has been on the podium every single event here today. So actually, after today, there is not going to be, unless Frokov can get past Ponset, there will not have been a single driver who has been on the podium every single event. Which is crazy.
I'm watching the gap from Frukov. He was around 5 to 8 seconds behind Ponset like 10 minutes ago, and now he's on 2-second gap. So that's saying to us that he doesn't have big damage, because it looked like a easier crash, not that bad. And he seems to be driving okay, and he of course is fighting for a podium, so I know him, he's gonna push this car like crazy until the end.
Yeah, I mean, we know he is currently under the weather, so we know he's got a bit of a disadvantage here compared to some of the other drivers who are not sick at the moment. But he's still making a very good drive here today, even though he was questionable if he was even going to compete here today.
Yep. I forgot about that for a second, but yeah, he's driving sick, probably some kind of flu. And as I'm seeing, because Frukov and Perron catched Ponset really fast, so I think Ponset has damage, and it should be confirmed as damage to the car of some sort, probably aerodynamical. In this game, usually it's problems, if you hit the wall, it's problems with oversteer. So we need to see the behavior of Ponset's Toyota in the third sector. As you can see, Frukov got really close, and he got like 6/10 now.
Indeed, I mean, he's definitely caught up quite a considerable amount. I mean, I think it's some aerodynamic damage on the Toyota, which is definitely going to affect your straight line speed and also your ability to turn, as we kind of saw earlier with Joseph German possibly getting damage on his Toyota after that spin at the start-finish straight. So he might have some damage, and we might even see him fall down even further down the order.
Yeah, now we just need to watch Frukov and Perron also. Perron is close to 5-second gap, which is fine. And yeah, we need to just watch out for Ponset to see what is the problem. He seems to be very slow in the low-speed corners.
Yeah, which is pretty unnatural for these Toyotas, because we know these Toyotas are pretty good at almost every corner type here, but it's just like the low-speed corners has really slowed them down.
Yep, let's see what Frukov can do, and he got 1 second of an advantage. It's just 1 second.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a potential overtake here onto the Mulsanne straight. Not this section even, but maybe. Oh no, he's just going to send it.
Oh.
He's just going to send it. He's going to send it like a risky text to cross right.
Clean from both drivers, very clean.
Very clean indeed. I think he's definitely going to get it coming up to this next chicane. Oh, but once again, it's another drag race down the Mulsanne. We'll see
yep, and Frukov is on the outside, but he is faster. Yep, on the straight, the BMW is faster than the Porsche today. Probably setup related. Since Porsche, for me, I think it's the second fastest car in the game. So nice move from Frukov, and Perron is now actually 3.6 behind, so he's pushing also for that podium, and that's gonna be the fight until the end of the race for them three. And Now the moment, the most important one is Frukov because he's the championship leader, so he needs these points.
Especially with double points currently on the table for everybody involved, so this is definitely going to shake up the standings a bit. And I mean, Machete, he led at the beginning because he got the win of the rain in a Ferrari, so that's actually going to put a lot of points into the WRT BMW team pockets and also for himself. So it's very possible that Machete could be our new championship leader come the end of this race here today.
Yep, he's driven amazingly from the start to finish. Haven't seen any problems and any sort. Santos is, it looks like 2 or 3 tenths slower than Machete. So
ooh, a slide from Nathan Perron there.
Amazing save from the Cadillac. As I was saying, this might be the same for P1 and P2, but we have a podium fight, which to me looks like a in long term P3 for Perron actually. He seems to be really fast and catching really fast the Toyota and the BMW.
Yeah, the only thing you really got to think about possibly for Perron is with that slide there, his back tires are probably more cooked than a well-done steak at a steakhouse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those tires are barbecued at this point. So, actually, you know what? Speaking of tires and potential pit stops, let's look at how much energy is remaining for these drivers here.
Yep. Yeah, as I said, Mora underfilled the car and he needs to pit now for the last stint. So he might even go against the softs.
I mean, at this point, yeah, that might be the strategy that works out for having more in the Assolta Fraschini.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, at this point right now, there's only one spot that is not gonna pay out points, and that's P13. Everybody else is DNF'd.
Yep.
So we're almost at the point of if you finish, you get points. Just one more driver would have to DNF for that to be the case, and I mean that was the case actually at Spa, but even then somebody else DNF'd. So yeah, it was at the point where as long as you finish, you got points, and it might be the same here today.
Exactly. And as I'm seeing, Mora is doing 2 shorter stints. So I like that because he's an underperforming car, and he needs to go on the softs to do something about it. So that's a good call from him. Now it's dependable on the gaps which he needs to do to score points.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's really interesting to see, and I mean, I've always been a fan of these boutique manufacturers just because I always do love an underdog story. But I mean, right now, the underdogs have been extremely impressive throughout the season, and at this rate, there's only so far out of the 3 races we've done, we're actually, which is crazy to say, we're officially at the halfway mark of the championship. After this race, there's only been 1 race where a boutique manufacturer did not score any points, and that was Bahrain at the beginning of the season. We saw some points at Spa, and we're likely going to see some points here at Le Mans.
Yep, exactly. It looks very good for the lower performing cars, and they're driving very good. We need to applaud them. They're doing an amazing job. It is a very long track, and the underperforming cars are struggling the most out of any track in this game.
I think actually the Assolta might actually be stuck. Oh, there he goes. We heard a rev banging quite a bit.
Let's see where he ends up now after the pit.
Yeah, taking a look at the gaps. He's gonna be probably P10 at the least. Probably still gonna stick in P9 because Brandon Dills is still 10 seconds, and actually he's in the pits himself. So yeah, he'll come back in P9. He only lost about 2 positions there, so we'll just go ahead and do another energy check to see who might be the next driver that would have to pit.
Yeah, we can go on board with Perron in the Cadillac. He seems to be very close now to Poncent in P4.
Indeed, yeah, we'll go on board with the French driver in the Cadillac. We'll see how close he can get to that final podium spot. A little bit of slip there, as you can hear those tires kind of squealing a bit. But so far it's been actually, really good for Nathan.
Looking at the energy levels, they might need to do another pit stop.
Yeah, possibly.
There is half an hour, yeah. around that's around like 7 laps, 7 or 8 laps. Foucault is on 80%, which is I think 3 laps. And Perron also needs to pit. And Kennedy and Sahid. I don't know about Mercedes, does he need to pit? It's 40%. Let's say a lap is like 7 or 8%. There is a possibility he can finish without a pit stop with his 41%.
Ooh, that's a bit late on the brakes there for Nathan Perron. So that was pretty dicey. That was almost contact between the Toyota and the Caddy. But yeah, I think if Machete keeps managing his fuel as well as he's been doing it for the entirety of this race, he might not need another pit stop.
Yep, exactly. Now I think he's on a verge of both. Like I think he needs to do heavy lift and coasting, which he has a gap for. There is some part of the tracks that go downhill, and he can do a major lift. But let's see how many percent he will have on the minute 20.
Yeah, we'll see, and then now we'll go ahead and that'll be our real indicator if he needs to make another pit stop or not. Because right now, if my math is correct, it takes, so let's say, it's 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. So for the sake of quick maths, let's just go and say about 4 minutes. So you got about 7 to 8 laps possibly.
Yep.
Around this track left. So I mean, possible. So at that rate, you would have to burn about percent per lap.
Depends. Every car has different energy level usages, so we will see it now in probably around minute 20. And Perron is now on 7/10 behind Ponset, so that's gonna be a spicy fight.
Indeed. We're actually going to go on board with Ponset and take a look at this rear wing cam. He looks like a little bit of a brake lock up there for Nathan, but he's still keeping that gap really respectable, or a really respectable gap there too. Why the close distance is about 7/10.
Yep. Ponset was the favorite for me to probably stay P3, but he seems to have something. Like his pace just dropped, and look where Santos is right now.
Yeah.
He was with him at gaps of like 5 seconds, and now it's a very major gap. We know that some of the drivers need to pit, and now the fight is with actually Perron and maybe even Fukov. Depends on the pit lane again. If they need to pit again, it's again 1 or 2 seconds, one little mistake, and it can all change in the pits. So he's still in the fight for the P3.
Yeah, and it's not over till the checkered flag waves. Anything can happen here, racing. We are under half an hour remaining here at Le Mans, and it has been a very good race. Oh, that might be a bit on the edge for track limits there for the Cadillac of Nathan Perron. That was really on edge there.
I mean, he needs to be. He's really
pushing.
He's undercutting probably Foucault right now.
Yeah, I mean, might even take a bit of extra time if they decide to repair the whole front part of the car. We'll just have to see.
He seems to be pitting 1 or 2 laps earlier than Foucault. Or no, Foucault is in the pits actually. So it's now battle of the pit stops.
Yeah, another yellow flag. I'm not sure who that was for. Yeah, I don't see who that would have been for. So,
strange, but
short.
We didn't mention the Ferraris at all. They seem to be struggling on Le Mans. Like, they won in real life due to good strategy and good race pace, but in game doesn't seem like the Ferrari is a strong car here.
The Ferrari took a win in Bahrain in the hands of Rovan Machete, our driver currently in first place in the BMW, but I mean, they weren't present.
Yep.
Ferrari would be a really solid car here, but maybe Adrian
somehow
is
it isn't.
Yeah,
somehow it isn't. When I drove the Ferrari and the Porsche both in Le Mans. I was 1 second faster in the Porsche, so it might be just track related that the Ferrari is struggling in Le Mans.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing, just because like it's won Le Mans for the last 2 years in a row, and they're hoping to make it a three-peat. But yeah, so very interesting. They'll definitely want to do good next week at their home track at Monza when we go for the last 90-minute race of the season, the 90 minutes of Monza on March 1st.
Yep.
So it's going to be very imperative that whoever is in the Ferraris at that stage is going to go ahead and just give the best performance possible.
Yeah, they have the home ground advantage. The fans.
The Tifosi.
And the Tifosi, yeah. And now, as I'm seeing, Perron is gonna catch the Alpine. He gets in front. And now, the question is, does Kennedy need to pit? He's in P4. 25 minutes remaining.
We'll check the energy remaining in that.
He needs to. Yeah, exactly. Pons and Kennedy both need to pit. Santos even might need to pit. Machete is on 31%, so he lost 9 in 5 minutes. It's 9 times 4. 4 laps. I think Machete needs to do heavy lift and coast or box right now.
Yeah, I think pitting might be his best option in that regard. I mean, you really got to burn about less than probably about maybe 1.5% a minute. Maybe is like your probably ideal range if you were to stick it from Machete. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna definitely make a pit stop. Which here's the thing that's interesting is with some of these drivers ahead that need to pit, like say Ferrari and maybe Kennedy, that might actually put more up a spot too. In particular, Ferrari and the Alpine.
Yep, as I'm seeing, everybody around 30% needs to pit. So Fukov, who undercutted together with Perron a bit, with a different strategy, they might get closer to the top 2. But I guess we need to see a bit later. For now, also Ferreira in the Alpine 20% on energies. It's a bit, I would say he can go back to like P10. So again, he can score some points if he has a good last two.
Indeed, yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of like the quiet card so far on this season. I mean, they've made their first appearance in Spa last week, managed to get a P10 finish, got points on debut. Looks like it's going to be more points for Andre Ferreira. And the thing I've noted about this driver in the Alpine is that he just seems to just kind of stay out of trouble, and he gains positions based off of that. He just keeps his nose clean, and it bumps him up. At least, I mean, we've got 16 Fs so far currently, so right now it's pretty good. I mean, you know, the age-old saying of, if you want to finish first you must finish. I mean, granted, he's not fighting for the win, but he's getting points for finishing, so good on the Alpine.
I just noticed that the Alpine of Ferreira is using the hard tire on the front left.
Yeah, that's interesting.
As we can see from the red mark, that's an interesting strategy. So probably his car setup is towards the front and it's burning the front left, which happens in Fuji. The front left just cooks the whole time. So people usually go hards on the front left. And he now needs to box. And this might be, I would say, a P10 for him.
Yeah, possibly, which would be a really strong result.
Yep. Oh, it's a fast pit stop. It's a fast pit stop for Ferreira. He stayed on the tires. Now Sahid in the Porsche, also on mediums. He might just do the fuel. Everybody should do the fuel, but there is a strategy that you can actually go on softs very, very, very late on because there is so much grip, and it might be worth for somebody if somebody is on softs.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that was definitely like a quick splash of fuel there for the Porsche of
Yeah, everybody
Sim
should.
and
Yeah.
Seed. But I
Yeah,
do
we
want
have Ferreira 2 seconds from Mora. This might be a fight for P7, which is a good position for both.
Yeah, it would be the highest. It would be the highest finish for either manufacturer at the moment. I mean, Javi Mora. Still, Isola Fraschini has no points yet as of now, and Andrew Ferreira doesn't have many points. I think he only has about a point and a half from Spa. So this would be the best finish for either driver. And for Javi Mora, it would be the best finish. It would be a tie for the best finish out of any of these boutique manufacturers. One more thing I do kind of want to just point out and just kind of give a shout out to. In chat, we are hearing that from Reflector and Ericsson that the commentary has been great. We really appreciate that.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah, it's not the first time commentating, and I think you've done pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, it's a very, very fun race today. I expected a bit more closer field, but we need to remember that this game is new. The strategies are not yet publicly known, and these drivers are also very new to the game. So probably in the future we'll get more closer racing in Delta times, but it's also the longest racetrack we have on this game, and in the world, of course. So also the Nürburgring, which we don't have in this game, and also in real life they don't race there. But Le Mans is one of the longest tracks, and the deltas should be big.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, we're going to a much shorter track next week in Monza. I mean, Monza is going to be the shortest. I think it actually is the shortest track. Either that or Sebring are the shortest tracks. But we're going to two shorter tracks in the upcoming weeks. We have March 1st being the race where we do 90 minutes of Monza, and then March 8th is the 1 hour of Sebring. Before on the 15th, we wrap up the season with the 1 hour of Fuji. So yeah, crazy that we're already halfway through the season.
Yep, it is going very, very quick, and every race was an entertaining one. And now I just want to see the percentages, because Mercedes is P3, and we need to see the percentages. Maybe, it's very low. I thought it was going to be higher, but they need to pit. The Toyotas need to pit. Now the question is how much Prukov actually gained to the Toyotas, because he did a different strategy. And also, can Ferreira actually make it on 25% until the end?
Yeah, he's got about maybe 2-ish, well, a little bit less than 2% per lap is like the target goal he needs to beat to go ahead and make it on this one stop. But I mean, even if he does pit, he's quite a bit of ways away from.
Yeah, he's pitting right now.
The point.
Yep, he's pitting right now.
Yep.
Yep, that depends where it's gonna put him now. That will reveal, actually give us a better clue that Mora has now in it's a very good position for him. He won't be under pressure for nobody, so he can keep this P7, which is an amazing result for Mora. And if it stays like this, I think he's my driver of the day.
Oh, I mean, that's very true. I mean, that's a very good vote for driver of the day. We haven't actually had an official driver of the day vote, but I guess it's not too late to start now. So, do we have any other mentions in chat for who driver of the day should be today? I do agree that Mora is a very good candidate.
Yeah, guys, leave it in the chat for your driver of the day. We didn't have it yet still, but just make some positive comments if you have any feedback of any driver. Yeah, as I said, for me, Mora and Mercedes, of course, in P1 without any mistakes. He's now leading the race as he crosses the pit. And also German and Sahid, they had bad qualifying. They are P8 and P9.
Yeah, indeed. And so we're coming down to almost the final 15 minutes left of this race. So about 5 laps, around 5 laps
Yep.
remaining, probably closer to 4, but still a good amount of time
Less.
remaining.
4,
left in this
probably
race.
4.
So yeah, I mean now actually, Mark Santos is. It looks like he is behind me. He is behind Brandon Dills, the blue Asota Fraschini. So the
Yep.
one who is currently sitting in P11. He's probably going to get the blue flags here very soon. But I mean, if Santos couldn't get past, then he'd be in a lot of trouble. But he does. He gets past. He'll take over second before the percentages update. But we can promise you that Thompson is not on 1% remaining. He is definitely on a lot higher percentage than that. It'll just take a hot second update. It usually takes till the first sector to update.
Yep.
For whatever reason, so I'm sure we'll see an update very, very shortly. There it is. There's the update, 37%.
Yep. Yeah, their HUD is in early access, and they are gonna update it on 25th of February. Whoever plays the game, they're gonna have a huge update on 25th. That might increase the people playing the game. And as I see, all the major streamers from sim racing are actually tried this game not once, but at least like 3 to 4 times. So you should watch their streams. They have much more insight of the game since they sim race for over 10 years. So, and they are always positive. As I watched like Jardier and Broadband, and they are very happy with the game. So yeah, we're now coming to the last 14 minutes of this race.
Indeed. So it's been a very solid race from a lot of these drivers. Mikel also having a really solid performance despite being under the weather. But do you think he's got the pace to go ahead and try to pass Ponson for the last podium position?
Well, it depends if Ponsent fixed his damage in the pits, which for light damage should be like 10 seconds. Depends on that. It also depends on raw pace, which Mikel is in front of Ponsent in terms of race pace.
Yeah, so it's all going to come down to if Antoine can just keep his head on straight and just not make a mistake. He needs to lock in for the last 13 minutes of this race. They've already been through over 2 hours of this race, and they just need to lock in for the last 13 minutes. And then this podium is as good as done.
Now the worst thing for Ponsent is the pressure that Mikel can give it to him, the pressure, because the pressure of later hour races, when you do them longer periods of time, just make you more vulnerable to mistakes.
Yeah, just that mental fatigue, the physical fatigue, and all sorts of fatigue are just building up, especially if it's late in the evening for some of the more European and Asian Pacific drivers, which I'm not sure if we have any of those. But yeah, it's definitely, especially if you're like in a place where it's late for time zones. In the States, it's only about 2:30 p.m., so it's not super late. But over in Europe, it's definitely pretty late. So, I mean, you just got to keep your head on straight for these last few laps.
Around 9 p.m., so it is kind of late. Oh, mistake from Foucault.
Yeah, going a bit wide there.
Yeah, we can chill on that, his mistakes, because he is ill, by the way, as I think he's a flu or something. So as it is, if he's driving really sick, which can be you need a lot of mental focus, especially if you have problems with the nose. It could be really, really bad to drive, because you're gonna be itching, you're gonna be like not on the wheel all the time, and especially this game needs a lot of skill in the hypercar, so this is a very good drive. Also, he's one of my driver of the days also, but I am more impressed with Mora in that car in P7.
Yeah, I mean, we know Frokov has got some really solid pace. I mean, so far he's the only driver with a 100% podium rate, even in even in the prologue too, because he won the prologue race in Portimao earlier on in the season, in the actual preseason, I should say. But I mean, so far, if he can manage to get past Ponset here in the last stages of this race, then he'll still be the only driver to have a podium every single race. That consistency says something. for the championship battle.
Yeah. Well, for me, him and Mercedes and the two Toyotas are definitely the fastest drivers. But in this type of endurance racing, it's more about the consistency and how you set up the car. And they seem to be really balanced. The top four didn't have any bigger mistakes. I think only Ponsen had a few slips of oversteer, and Foucault a bit of, let's say, locking up, which is normal in hypercars. Now he's in 2 seconds. Now, does that mean that Ponsen has this under control?
Very good question. I mean, right now you could come to that conclusion that Ponce does definitely have things under control. He's got everything in the bag, but there's still 10 minutes left of this race as of now. 10 minutes left on the clock, and you really got about 3 laps left of this race, and possibly another one depending on like the timing. But yeah. It's gonna be down to the wire for these drivers. They're probably sweating buckets right now.
There is also a possibility German can get P7. It is one of the slower cars against the fastest car, and German has been fast since we know he started like dead last, as you said. So there's also might be a fight for P7. And Ericsson said that his driver through should be the SIG guy for powering through, which is a very good comment. Driving SIG, like, it is very, very mentally challenged. So it's, as I said, it's either him or Mora for the driver of the day for me. So if he can get this P3, I think Foucault will win it for me. But Mora is very, very much the favorite for me.
Yeah, I think it's really between Joseph German, Javi, race and still fight for a podium possibly. So that takes a lot of skill on its own. Fighting for podium in the series is a challenge on its own, and then you throw in, like you mentioned, the nasal congestion, the fever, or whatever unfortunate sickness that McCall dealt with.
Probably he's very, very, probably warm, sweating and everything. So we don't know. We need to ask him later. But we are cheering for him. Like this is just mentally tough already. He's doing a little bit of mistakes here and there, but it's normal. It's 2 hours of racing. So as it seems, German is now on 10-second gap to P7, which means that he's not gaining as much as he needs to. I think this is like 2 laps remaining. Oh, another wide from Foucault. I think he's just drained right now. This is already a third mistake in a minute. So.
I mean, I would say we can try to grab him for our interview, but I think realistically he just needs to rest. So we'll probably just grab our podium finishers.
Yeah.
Unless Frokov actually gets into that podium, then unfortunately we will be trying to drag him into the meeting or the interviews. Yep. But it's been a very solid drive here, despite the conditions he is racing in.
Yep. I think also, as I noted, Santos in P2 has amazing pace, close to Machete, and probably something happened in the race start where he probably lost a lot of times to Machete. Probably Machete got better tire warming. I don't know if it's a skill or car related, but that's where Santos lost probably from the race start. The pace and not the like probably the traffic and the cold tires and people just pushing everywhere. But he was on pace with Machete the whole day, so unfortunately the gap is so big. So yeah, unfortunately for him, P2 is a solid result. Machete drove perfectly. I think both Toyotas should be happy with the P2 and P3.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, it's even pretty, I mean, this is pretty consequential for the championship standings. Mark Santos was behind Joseph German in the standings, currently sitting at P3, so he'll jump in the spot. He'll at least get Joseph German, maybe more. We'll have to see once the scoring is done and finalized. Probably sometime tomorrow or Monday, I think. But we'll just have to see how the standings play out. But yeah, this is the most consequential race of the entire season because it's double points, points all the way down to P12, and now, actually, as I just found out, Andre Ferreira is out of this race.
Oh, no, what happened?
Not sure, but it is now to the point where as long as everybody finishes, it's going to be points for everybody who finishes this race.
Oh, no. He had such a good race.
Yeah.
We were cheering for him in the Alpine, but you know, things happen, but the most painful thing is to lose everything in the last 5 minutes of the race.
Yeah, so right now, and I mean, it won't be that case next week, because next week is the top 11, because it's a 90-minute race, and the top 10 from there on out, but as it's right now, everybody will go ahead and get points as long as they finish the race, with Nico Perez rounding out the points. So we'll see how the points are going to play out here.
Yeah, as I said, we only have Fukov and Ponsen for P3, and German, who is now 5.5 seconds from Mora. That means that he got 3 seconds after the gap. Now he needs 5 more. It is 4 minutes, which is around a lap and a half. So we'll see if he can. He's getting really close right now.
There's a yellow flag on track. It's a pretty lengthy yellow flag, so I'll kind of flip to the driver to see who that might be geared towards. Didn't see it, unfortunately. Maybe Javi Mora? Maybe? No. Okay, not Javi Mora. I'm not sure who that flag would have been actually for. But yeah, we're down to the last 4 minutes of this race.
Yeah, it was a quite entertaining one. The first split especially was very, very close. And this is a good vision for the next race. The drivers were very close. Since the track is so big and everything, in a shorter track, it is gonna be amazing in Monza. Monza is a bit more easier track. It's a slipstream based track. So yeah, unlucky I'm gonna miss that one, but it's gonna be an amazing race.
Indeed, yeah. So for those of you who might be a bit late to joining on in, the next race is March 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're in the United States, or 6 p.m. in Central Eastern Time, or I think that's Central European Time. But yes, it is next week. We have one race a week on Saturdays up until March 15th, where we have our 1 hour of Fuji season finale. You don't want to miss it. So be sure you are subscribed if you haven't subscribed already, and be sure to turn on notifications because you're not going to want to miss it. Or if you like F1 more, we have that as well. So definitely check in for that.
Yeah, we can now probably go with the race leader. We can go on board to see how he drives this last minutes of the race, to see his condition of the car. Is he still pushing? Is he chilled and driving very cautiously? He has a 15-second gap, so I don't think he needs to push this.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to push more than he absolutely needs to kind of keep that gap. Even then, even if he loses that gap a little bit, I mean, you don't get extra points for how big the gap is. You get the points based on your position. And right now, he's got the top position as it sits right now. And actually, okay, he has the second fastest lap overall. Mark Santos has the fastest lap of this race at a 1 minute 27.237 versus the 1 minute 27.3 flat for Machete. So very nice indeed.
Yeah. As I said, they have really similar pace. Yeah, unlucky for Santos, as I said, he had something in the start. He will probably tell us in the interview why is the gap so big, and probably something in the start. I'm just guessing, but as he's on pace, that means that he could have won the race if he was just closer to Machete, because Machete didn't have any pressure from the start. He got that amazing gap on the start. Oh, didn't
Santos is out! Santos is out of the race! What happened there?
Oh, no. No way, no.
So, in the dying
What could have happened? Well, basically, I think since it was the gap, I think he was in sector 3. while we were talking and he crashed in the wall. That's the only thing I can think of. That gives Fukov the P3 and Ponson the P2.
Yeah, that's
Oh my god, that's a surprise. Oh my god.
that is race changing for certain.
This is gonna be mentally tough, man, on the last minute of the 2.4-hour race.
He is gonna be kicking himself after that one. He is gonna be absolutely
I'm in shock.
devastated.
I'm in shock. You know, like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Such an amazing race from Santos. Such an amazing race.
Yep, and that's it. And this is the last lap for all these drivers because Mikhail Frokov is going to go ahead and just round out the last lap. We'll stay on board with the we'll go on board with the lead BMW. So it's a double BMW podium. Oof. And Frokov still keeps it alive for having a podium in every single race of the season.
Oof, huge luck.
And that's, he's in the gravel, but I don't think he's going to lose too much
time. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. He did the perfect race. He can make a mistake also.
Indeed, that's very, very unfortunate there for Mark Santos. He's got to be devastated.
Let's just hope it's not game related or something, or PC or related. That's the biggest pain you can get from sim racing. It's when your PC dies or something.
Yeah, we actually had a There's even a glitch that happened actually to Formula Jonah in Bahrain where he was trying to start the formation lap but got DSQ'd somehow trying to start the formation lap. So that tends to happen, but very unfortunate there. But who has had a lot of fortune is this driver right here. He's taking his second win of the season. He won in a Ferrari in Bahrain, and now he's about to come across the checkered flag to take a win and BMW's second win of the season. Rovan Machete wins the 2.5 hours. Excellent for him today.
Absolutely hats off to Machete. Absolutely amazing. Little mistakes, amazing pace. Just one mistake we saw right now, but it is, as I said, mentally very difficult. But he drove on a perfect race today.
Very, very awesome. So, yep, that actually pretty much leaves it to where now the drivers who have finished the race with the, actually all the drivers that finished the race will receive points. So it's looking, actually, like it's only the top 10 that are going to get points because AJ Pubella is also DNF'd. So it's only the top 10 drivers that will go ahead and finish the race out. Oh, he got disconnected.
Oh, there we go. There we go. The PC issues.
Ah, that's unfortunate from Mark Santos.
That's very painful. That's very painful.
Yep, so that is the end of this race.
DC'd. Oh, he said he DC'd.
Yeah, he got disconnected,
Even
which
worse.
is very unfortunate.
Even worse, yeah. Well, F in the chats for the fallen soldier who gave his everything.
All right. Well, that is unfortunate.
Kennedy in P4, also a very good job from him.
Yeah, so
we had a lot of Porsches very close at the start of the race, and now we have a Porsche in P4 and P9.
Yeah, so unfortunate. Also, speaking of Porsches, I can see that with Santos disconnected, he is now currently in a GT3 Porsche, which I don't remember seeing that on track earlier. It's a little bit of a visual bug there, but yeah. Now that the race is done, would you mind going ahead and getting our interviewees up in here while I go ahead and switch to our new interview screen, which is just
sure.
The thumbnail from the event.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Once we go ahead and switch over to the menu. Actually, well, we still have some cars actually driving on track. Javi Moore is still on track. So we'll be on board with him for a bit. Oh, he goes really wide there, but I don't think a penalty is really gonna affect him much. He will go ahead and get P6, which is the highest finishing position of any of the boutique manufacturers. So excellent drive there. He's stuck it up to the
excellent. P6, amazing. Amazing
Yep.
for them.
He's got to cross the line
Amazing.
now.
For him and the team, amazing. Yeah, he's celebrating. P6 is a win for him, so my driver of the
Excellent.
day with that P6.
Yep, and that is the race done and dusted. Joseph German will be the last car to cross the line. And yep, that is the end of this race.
Very, very amazing race. Yeah, we will have the top 3 drivers now joining us for the post-race interviews.
All right, and you can go ahead and start
Also,
us with
guys,
the
if you have a question, you can also leave it in the YouTube for the drivers in the top 3 positions.
Indeed.
Yep, let's move to the general chat. It seems like we have the drivers there.
All right, we will go ahead
Or
and
do we move them here?
try to move them here if you can.
No, no permission.
All right, so let's go in general then.
All right.
Huh?
Sure. Wait a bit. We're gonna do interviews now.
Yep.
Oh.
All right, so I'll go and let Philip take away with the first interview.
Yep, sure. Let's first go with the P3 position. So the first is what happened at the start. You seem to have gotten so much positions and very good race start.
Yeah, in general, I've been having very good starts in this game. I don't know, I think it's just, I know how to warm up the tires and brakes before on the formation lap, and then I'm just good at reaction and positioning the car through the first lap. So yeah, I usually gain quite a few positions in lap 1.
Yeah, you seem to have an amazing race with the flu, you said?
Just
else?
a few. I don't know what exactly it is, but
okay.
the fever.
Okay. Did it hit at any point of the race with like being 2.4 hours? Did it hit you hard maybe in the second stint, the third stint?
It was actually worse at the beginning, I would say, because I couldn't concentrate at all. But I think I got used to it by doing the race.
Yeah. Since you are our championship leader, are you happy with this P3 today?
Yes, I'm happy considering I had no practice at all because I didn't expect to do this race. And also, as I said, I got a fever. So yeah, I'm very happy with P3.
That will be it for the questions. P2 is out of the interviews because of mic problems, so we will not have him. Patrick, do you want to interview the winner?
Indeed, I will. So, all right. So, Mr. Rovin, that's a race from you here today. So, I do have a question that might be on some of our viewers' minds. Is what prompted the switch from Ferrari to BMW?
Well, firstly, it was planned that I drive as a reserve driver because I didn't thought that I could drive many races, and then the opportunity came for me to test cars in Spa, and I tried out the BMW and the Alpine, which were the 2 free cars at the time, and I liked the BMW much more, and yeah, then this was basically it, switching to the BMW, and hopefully this streak is going to continue, 2 races, 2 wins, and yeah.
Since we don't have Santos here with us, what was the strategy for you today that got you the gap?
Well, firstly, I think it should have been basically flat out. Didn't need to save anything. So my main concern was just like the tire, and I double stinted always the medium, so did the first 2 stints and then pitted for new tires, and yeah, that worked pretty well.
Okay, Patrick, any more questions?
So are you anticipating on competing in Monza? And if so, are you still going to be in the BMW, or are you going to go back to Ferrari for the home race?
Now I'm gonna stay in the BMW, but I'm planning on to do Monza and the rest of the season, hopefully.
Awesome. Well, you had an excellent performance here today. Congratulations. Half-hour race. Yeah, that's very tough for anyone. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. I mean, driving in your race in general is tough, but let alone under the weather, it's just not easy for anyone. So congratulations to you as well. But all right, if you don't have any more questions, I don't have any more questions, and I think we are good to sign off for the evening.
Yeah, that was a good race from everyone. Like 80 to 90% was a clean race, aggressive. Yeah, as I said, unfortunately the racetrack is a bit long, and you know a lot of pit stops and mistakes, so it spread out the field. But in Monza, it's gonna be a hell of a good race.
Indeed, and yeah, so I want to give you a shout out personally, Philip, because it was your first time commentating, and I think you honestly knocked it out of the park. So congratulations to you, and we'll see you in Sebring.
Sebring.
For
Unfortunately,
the penultimate round of the season.
Yeah, I have a two shift job, so I'm doing first shift and second, and first and second. So unfortunately, the races are at 6 o'clock. So yeah, I will see you guys again in Sebring.
Tuning in, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to turn on notifications so you don't miss we have coming up. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys